laughter and a groovy move, ice cream drip, heaven in each grain of land. And
Oh my god, I hadn't watched that. That was fantastic. Oh man, that was funny. I have Smilex on here. Oh wow, I put the wrong person out. Hold on.
You know, we sharks all look alike. It's
Okay, Smilex is here. I'm sorry, everybody.
Hi.
I'm sorry, but sorry that just made me laugh. So yeah, Smilex is here. And I guess that means where he goes, Adam Gray and Barbara Lards are usually not far behind. So bring them right in. It's a little different. I'll just go right into it. And you know what? Screw it. We also have Melvin Deepfish here.
Dum 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 dum.
That's one thing I do want to mention, by the way. But yeah, we'll just start right out the gate here. I totally screwed that up. I screwed the pooch on that one, everybody. So how is everybody today?
Ah, just wonderful. Ready to go swim with some good bow-legged women.
Yes, great line, great line. Quint, I've said multiple times in my life, is that he's a top 10, if not a top 5 all-time character in movies. He's played perfectly. We'll get to that in a minute.
Yeah.
First things first, how is the chat? We see you. Oh, we already have a super chat, so I guess I'll just highlight that right away. From Blue Collar Loser for $1.99. Did you see the Jaws Jack Daniels bottle? I need it. I mean, I'm not shocked that you need that, but yeah. So I did not see that. I'll have to look that up though. I'm guessing that that it's like the opening is the shark's mouth and you pull the cap out. I'm guessing. Maybe I'll pull up a picture of it later on. But
it's actually shaped like an old tire and a license plate.
Is it really?
No.
Oh,
or leg, just somebody's leg.
Just a leg.
It's just a naked woman that's being eaten by a shark. Just
They thought it was it works well with the demographic that they tested it with.
Is are we having trouble with Melvin? Is he not able to be?
He says he's muted permanently, like he's in the Phantom Zone, which is
just check what your output is, Melv. We'll get you in, but so we got a good one today, guys. But it's funny because originally this one has been a bit in flux. I'm gonna hold on. Let me move Smilex and Joe. It's confusing. I need like Joe down over here. There we go. Now there's
no, that's wrong too. Why don't you just put all the B-siders?
That's actually a good idea.
There you go.
Well, there we go.
Oh, I feel so much better. I'm sandwiched. I'm like
yeah. And you got Barbara pointing at you right there. I'm not ill. It's allergy season. So that might be the you might be hearing some raspiness from my allergies. But
I'm ill. I woke up at 8 a.m. to do this, so I'm feeling quite ill.
I will show before we really get into it. So I know everybody really loves my shirts. So I do actually have my T-Rex, my shark riding a T-Rex shirt.
Oh, it's beautiful.
Here.
That is a beautiful thing.
That is fantastic.
Mm-hmm. So that's but yeah, I guess we'll get right into it, and hopefully Melvin can join us in a moment. But yeah, so I guess what we'll do is, I don't ever start with Joe's first time with this movie. So why don't we start with you today, Joe?
Okay. Well, I've always said it's one of my wife's favorite movies, and as soon as we started dating, Jaws became a staple of movies we put on just all the time. And then it just seems like we had a greater appreciation as the years have gone by, and every time our theater has Jaws in it, we always go see it. Packed theater every time. Movie still holds up. Definitely one of my top 5 of all time.
Yeah, I would say. I mean, we're about to the 50th anniversary is only in a few days, and it's still to this day looks fantastic. I mean, obviously they've upscaled it over the years. But it still looks fantastic, which is crazy when you consider all the problems this movie had in terms of technological issues that weren't working. We'll get into those more so later. But how about you, Babs?
Yeah, this is long time favorite of mine. I've seen it I try and watch it at least once a year, and usually on the 4th of July because the 4th of July movie. But my son was born on its release date.
Oh, nice. That's cool.
So yeah, I do. It's literally one of my absolute all-time favorite movies.
Let me
Can't say enough good things about it.
let me just do a quick mic check on Melvin. Are you? Can we hear you? We cannot.
Oh no.
Oh,
I don't want to lose Melvin on this one. He came out of his second retirement for this one.
I heard he was dead.
So I guess while Melvin still sorts that out, Adam, how about you? What was your first experience or favorite experience with the movie?
If I remember correctly, well, I was definitely too young to go see it in the theater, and my mother was not going to take me to see this because she wouldn't want to sit through it. But I remember, I think, just seeing like a really chopped up version of it on TV or on early broadcast TV. But it was so popular for so many years that I do remember like reading a few chapters of it in my grandpa's Reader's Digest, and then I actually got the book from the library and read the whole Benchley novel when I was in grade school, and had terrible dreams after that. But I've watched it maybe 20 times since it came out. So Babs and I do watch it every year at least. And we watched it last night, and it's still great. It's
still great.
It holds up great.
No, I 100% agree. It definitely, like I said before, this movie, and I named it what I named it because it really does. It redefined how terror and horror movies were done, because you barely see what you're dealing with most of the movie.
Mhm.
It really that whole unseen horror. I don't think this was the first one to do it, but it definitely was the best early version to do it. I'm trying to see if I can find that. I'll find that picture later.
Yeah, it was a whole the less is more.
Yeah, the pacing of the
Style,
monster
yeah.
is very much like Godzilla. You don't see it for a while.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of, honestly, it's almost like the American Godzilla, if you
Mhm.
think about it. Really, we have another super chat. I'll get to that in a moment. But in the meantime, we'll go to Smilex.
Hi. Well, yeah. I mean, I've seen this. I don't know how many times. I've lost count because I probably, when I was running a video shop, I used to put this on probably about once a week and just have it playing in the background. So I easily in the hundreds at this point. But I can't remember the very first time I saw it. I do remember the first time it had an impact, which was probably when I was about sort of 7 or 8, and watched it, and then was scared of bathwater for a few days. Or at least that was my excuse. And
I gotta find that video. There's like a famous, and you can find it on YouTube. There's like a famous clip from like a porno where a guy's taking a bath and a woman runs in. She's like, "Shark, get out of the water!" And he's like, "There's no sharks in the bathtub, lady." It's like,
There was one in Saturday the 14th, I think.
Ah.
Well, you see the fin, and it comes towards the lady in the bathtub in the bubble bath, and then its head pops out, and I think the fin is on its head. It's like a creature from the Black Lagoon with a shark fin.
I love this film. I've seen it so many times that I know the words to it. So I didn't watch it again for this, but I have seen it in the last year or so.
Nah, yeah, there's certain movies you don't gotta rewatch. I mean, I like to if I can, but there's been ones where I think one of the ones I didn't rewatch when we did it was Mortal Kombat, because I've seen that so many times. I was like, I could just do that from memory. And Melvin Deepfish, can we hear you?
Earth calling.
Oh,
Mark calling.
I'm not sure. He must. Do you have like a mute on your mic? I don't even, because it's not saying you're muted on our end.
You're gonna have to do your best Melvin impression, Smiley.
I can. So.
He would be very upset if I did that.
Those Scots and their crazy accents. But I guess I'll go next. So I mean, I don't remember the first time I watched this. Obviously, it came out in 1975. I was born in 1988, so it was already a 13-year-old movie by the time I was born. But the thing that I always stick with, and I always tell people, is that growing up, my father. Now, obviously, this movie came out when he would have probably been about like 18 or 19, somewhere in that range. And he never set foot in the ocean. This movie terrified him so much that he never set foot in the ocean my entire life. And it's funny because like in nowadays, like you watch it and it's like, you know, it has a little bit of cheesiness to it because it's like so many things have come out since. But like at the time, this was so revolutionary, this concept of like and it came out of complete necessity because, you know, the Bruce animatronic didn't work right, but the concept of the camera view and like really not knowing what's underneath somebody.
Yeah, putting it all at the height of the human being swimming is a genius idea. Just having the water level just dripping in and out of the camera.
So there's actually a term for it. It's thalassophobia. It's a fear of the open water. And generally, I think everybody to a degree has that. But it's mostly when you're out in like deep waters because you can't, you know, obviously. But like they say in the movie, you know, a majority of shark attacks do occur in shallow waters, you know, and that's because most sharks are actually pretty small. Majority of them aren't, you know, giant great whites. Or in fact, actually, I even said that backstage, you know, being from New Jersey, the attacks that inspired this movie actually only occurred several miles from my childhood home. And like, I still don't live that far from there. I'll see if I can find it while we're like right now. I think I did find it before, but later on I'll show it. There's actually a mural painted where on it's basically like a bridge inlet for water really close to where the attacks happen. It's a giant shark that's painted with a number 1916 next to it. So I'll see if I can find a good picture to show that.
I do have a funny story to share regarding this. My sister, who's about 10 years older than I am, she went out on a date with a guy and he took her to see this movie in 1975. And she got hysterical. She had to call my mom.
So she was just being a woman, is what you're saying.
And my mom had to pick her up from the movie theater and give her a Valium when she got home. And as it turns out, she still went on to not just date him, but marry him. They're still married to this day.
And they're actually shark researchers now.
Indeed, yeah.
Well, they will be celebrating their 50th wedding anniversary next year.
Oh,
let's see if that worked.
Apparently, it wasn't that terrible, but it freaked my sister out really bad.
Okay, I'll pull up the picture in a separate thing, and I'll just share my screen because I have it, but it's one of those things where I can't figure out which format they want me to use. So I'll just do it this way. It also allowed me to zoom in a little bit. It'll be a little blurry. I apologize, but share screen window. Here we go. And where is it? Here it is. So this is actually not far from where I live. Where I grew up, I should say. You know, in the greater scheme of things, nothing's really that far in New Jersey. But yeah, that's actually painted on an inlet not far from where the attacks occurred. You can't really see it because I had to zoom in, so it's hard to read the 1916 right there. But yeah, that's
awesome.
You can literally walk down there's like a bridge that you can walk across and you walk right past it. So it's a really cool. And that's so obviously that's the reflection. They painted it in such a way that the reflection makes it look like it completes the mouth. Mm-hmm. So like right here, that's actually just the reflection. But yeah, it's a really cool little thing that it's like one of those weird New Jersey things you might see in like the magazine. But yeah,
awesome.
I guess Melvin is having a lot of trouble. So I don't know, I guess reboot your computer, Melv, and try that way. And we'll or try a different mic. We'll let you in. If you can get in a little bit, we'll let you in. But I think we should probably start because we're about 15 minutes in. So we'll you know, obviously you're not kicked out of the stream in general, but the show must go on.
Okay. So we start here with the beautiful logo of Jaws. And we start off at a very happy little beach bonfire at Amity Island. And, young love is happening in the air as Christy just locks eyes with a nice drunk guy, and they decide to go for a little stroll on the beach. She decides to jump into the water, and this seems to happen. This clip has no sound. Just make sure you unmute yourselves.
Your mic got better as that happened. That's crazy.
Is it really?
Yeah, it was weird. It sounded like you were in a hallway, and then all of a sudden you were. But yeah, I mean, this is probably one of the most iconic first scenes in movie history. It's up there with Star Wars.
She's a great screamer. She's a really good screamer. She makes me feel it every time. I am terrified for this girl. She seems like she's really in trouble. I mean, I know that there are reasons why she is struggling a bit because they were yanking her around with ropes.
Yeah.
But,
so it was actually a harness on a dolly that they used.
Yeah, they were two lines, I think, that they had staked into the beach, 50 yards away from her. And they just yanked on her, and she never knew where it was going to come from. So that must have been terrifying.
Yeah.
Makes it all better.
I feel like you could not get away with that.
I would like to say that I do think that the unsung hero of this scene is the guy who's so drunk he can't actually get his clothes off. That's
blue collar loser on his date. Yeah.
So I mean, the juxtaposition of the three, very different. It's like her being this I mean, they're both horny, but her being this horny, energetic, going out swimming. Him being this just complete passed out drunk moron. My favorite thing is that she doesn't even ask him. He just screams, "I'm not drunk."
Yeah.
and walk or dress myself for.
Yeah.
And then obviously the immediate, her being attacked, it changes everything quickly.
Yeah. And this is one thing that we're going to get a lot of in this film. Pretty much all of the people, I did mention this backstage, but pretty much all of the people that you see on this film, with the exception of the main five sort of actors, are almost entirely unknowns, which really works for the film. And I never really thought about it that much until quite recently, but you don't see an actor. You are seeing the character every time, pretty much, because you've never seen them before. They don't come with any baggage from a previous movie. These are just people living on this island, and you've never seen them again. They're all just here for this one movie, and they're pretty much never seen again.
Yeah, they're all locals, pretty much.
Mostly locals, yeah.
Well, Susan Becklinney, who's plays Chrissy, she was already a nationally ranked championship swimmer, and was working as a stunt woman and an animal trainer when Steven Spielberg tapped her, and he wanted her specifically.
Oh, he tapped that? I mean, he's known for doing that on movie sets. So.
He might have. I don't know.
Only the bottom half.
It was 1975. It was a crazy.
So let's say that this is her bottom half. Can I get some time with that?
But,
I just want to say, Blue Collar, I really hope that it wasn't in a shark attack that your grandfather died, because that would be that would make this story even worse that you're telling me right now.
No, it's on the Indianapolis.
1997?
Yeah.
He rebuilt it.
He was late. He was just really late.
But he picked her specifically because she could handle being out in the ocean as a swimmer.
Yeah.
He didn't want just an actress. He wanted.
Well, I mean, she doesn't have many lines. She pretty much dies immediately. So I don't think they really needed a great actress, but she did a good job of conveying
absolutely.
emotion. Melvin, can you speak? I guess we won't have. I'm sorry, Melvin. I'm not really sure why it's giving you problems.
Because it's a streaming software. That's why.
Yeah.
I mean, I feel bad. But the
there's an awful lot of actors in this that or should we say non-actors in this that have pretty much one or two lines, and that's it. But they are delivered really well.
Yeah.
So then we cut to the morning where we see our hero, Chief Martin Brody, and I don't know how true this is. I'm thinking like a fan thing about this, but was he put on this specific place because the mayor wanted to screw with him because he's afraid of the ocean. I read that somewhere. I don't know if it's in the book.
A fan theory. I've never read the book, but
they
I don't
screw with him
remember that
so
from-
much throughout this entire movie, and the book's mostly about like the mafia too, and like the sharks, a subsection of the book.
Yeah, and also a bit of a messy divorce and a little bit of an affair going on.
Yeah, yeah.
Actually, if you
That's
go
a lot
back to
in
this,
the,
if you go back to this, I'll go back. I mean, hold on, I got it. It looks like they had quite the night based on her positioning right there. I mean, I don't think
Yeah.
divorce.
a threesome by the looks of it.
Yeah, with the dog and everything. I mean, the dog's tongue is still hanging out. So
It was the 70s.
It's a
Woke up
different
like
time.
this.
Yeah, in the book, she has an affair with Hooper.
Yes, she does. Yeah.
Really?
I would love to see how that happened.
Yeah.
Was it the beard? Did that get her going?
no, it was how he could just talk about fish all day. She's the opposite of
He's very,
thalassphobia. She's
He's very poissonate.
flaccid.
Poissonate? Never mind. Forget it. Doesn't matter.
Poissonate?
I was going for a French joke there.
We don't got any French people.
I forgot the French guy's not here.
We've given. I kicked that cat to the curb.
I'm right.
So Brody gets a phone call about a missing person.
Wait,
which
go
was-
back. I just noticed something.
Uh-oh.
Why is the phone still on the hook?
He's got
Oh my
It's
God.
two different phones.
He has
He
two
actually picks.
How rich is he that he has two phones?
One's a work phone, one's personal.
One,
Yeah.
because he in
One's
the
for his
scene he
OnlyFans.
picks up the one on the wall first, and then he realizes it's not the right one, and he picks up the
Sorry.
work phone.
Only fins.
Well, only
There it is.
Oh.
So actually, I mean, the wife does spend most of her time at home. Maybe she was a sex operator, like a phone sex operator.
See, that's the problem. If they make the modern version of this, she's going to have an OnlyFins account. So he gets a call about a missing person, and he goes into workforce. We get the beautiful. Is this actually a real sign?
Well, I don't think Amity Island's a real
no,
place.
it's not.
It's
No.
a real
fictitious,
sign at
so.
Universal
I
Studios.
mean, it's a universal. It's a real sign that they made, but it's not. It's not
Oh
a real.
damn!
one.
You know,
In
they
fact,
actually.
the
you know, they
the
actually-
island itself has absolutely no big signs anywhere because it's such an area of natural beauty that the locals hated the fact that they were building big signs and putting up structures in places. So
Well, you can tell that that's a temporary
efficiency.
structure just based on the way.
yeah, that was
it's
up
just on
literally
post.
for 6. That was literally up for 3 days.
Yeah.
About 6 hours before they did the first shot, it was up.
Yeah,
They got
I
rid
do.
of
I
the-
always loved how the woman on the painting looks just like Chrissy. Like it's.
Mhm.
She was the modeled on the girlfriend of Brian De Palma. There's a fun fact for you.
Really?
Yep.
See, a lot of weird things happen with this movie. Like Spielberg wanted this specific woman to die 5 seconds in this. They wanted this specific person for the model
mean,
of it. Like how come?
Having seen her, like I wouldn't be shocked if like he just kind of went like, hey, I want to see her naked, so we're gonna make her the one who goes skinny dipping, and we'll go from there.
Absolutely.
We'll just build He's like, we'll just build a whole movie out from that scene. We'll just
How do I get?
We'll figure out the rest of it later.
It's the reason we all get up in the morning. How do I get to see girls naked? That's pretty much the defining thought that goes from.
that's driven most of the human race in all of inventions. Like if I make this incredibly awesome way of doing certain task, naked women. That's
absolutely.
It's like the worst
It's
fortune
the only
cookie
reason I'm
ever.
here. It's just I'm just weaving my way into.
I just looked her up. I just looked up the actress. She died almost about a year ago.
Yeah, she
Oh.
did. She passed away
Yes,
last year.
Chrissy. Yes, she did.
She lived to 77. She had a fairly full life, And she and she will always be known as that naked chick who got eaten by a shark.
Indeed.
That's the way she wanted to be, I guess.
It's not a bad legacy, I suppose.
No. So Brody goes onto the shore. This is the drunk guy that was at the beach too, right?
Yes, yeah. He mentions
Okay.
that he was he's a natural born islander, but he's been living in Connecticut because he goes to school there.
So much backstory for a guy that we never really see again.
Well,
Yeah.
that's kind of important because it's important to the people on the island that you're from there.
Indeed.
So it is
That's
establishing
true, yeah.
him as
An outsider.
As
Yeah,
a
it's
local,
establishing
and
him
Brody's
as not an outsider.
Well,
So he's
no, that's the point. I mean, it's
Brody's the
emphasizing the fact
outsider.
that the poor chief is an outsider by using
Yeah.
lingo that he wouldn't understand, just a few colloquialisms he's not getting quite.
Yeah.
So,
But on top
yeah,
of
it's
that,
all just there to
I
add a
do
bit of
think that
flavour.
there's a little subtext to it that because he's a local, he's not even considered as a possibility that he had anything to do with this. Like,
Yeah,
I know
guess-
immediately they pretty much figure out that he couldn't have, but like
Mhm.
they don't even look at him as a possible suspect in this.
no.
Yeah.
No.
Well, as they're going down the beach, the other officer, it's weird. They only got like 2 officers on this entire island, it seems. But yeah,
It's a very small town. I mean, honestly, they probably have less than 500 residents. A couple of
Mhm.
officers probably cover the whole thing. They even say later on there hasn't been a murder or an assault in like
25
ever.
years, I think.
Yeah, like in ever basically. So
I was a
essentially,
little
the
bit-
cops are just there these two are just there to enforce noise ordinances and stuff. And like
I was a
mark-
little sad that
That's why all of the crimes, that Chief Brody gets handed are like the Boy Scouts are,
Yeah.
or the
Knocking
kids are
down my
karate
fence.
chopping fences,
Yeah.
stuff like that.
Yeah,
So
they
they
cut out
find-
one of my favorite parts of the movie on the version that we watched. I don't know if they fixed it with CGI or whatever, but when you see the pile here on the next shot,
Mhm.
Oh, we
there
don't
used
have
to
it.
be a little crab that falls on top of it, like someone on the crew, like
Oh,
"We
just
need
throwing
more
it in
crab."
there.
Oh no, yeah. That's still it depends on which version you have.
Yeah,
I
it
know
was
that
fun.
I know that a lot of the actors regretted, this actor in particular regretted having his sleeves up and his jumper around his waist, because he did that in a few shots and then he realized it's bloody freezing.
Yep.
It's really really cold here, and he said, "Can I put the jumper on?" And Spielberg said, "No, you've already taken it off. We've already got some shots in the can. Continuity, you're keeping that around your waist."
Well, yeah.
What a
The
professional.
So actually, that you brought up the versions, Adam. So I was actually looking at the 50th anniversary, like Blu-ray 4K digital combo pack, and it didn't come out like for a few. I guess I'm guessing to coincide with the actual date. I don't remember when it was, but then I looked at the 45th anniversary one. It's literally the exact same thing. Like everything in it is exactly the same. They just changed the number to 50 on it. And
So it's like The Last of Us, where they just keep remastering it for every PlayStation.
yeah, but then it's funny because then you get the DVD. I have it actually right next to me because I used it to. And then you get the thing, and there was like just a piece of paper up here that folded over it that said 45th anniversary. So I'm guessing the 50th has the same thing.
Yeah.
So as soon as you peel it off, it doesn't matter. It's the same exact combo kit. So don't wait for
Boo.
if you're looking to get like an updated version of this. You don't even wait for the 50. Just get the 45th. It's the exact same thing, and you won't even be able to tell the difference.
A little disappointed there's no like 3-hour Spielberg cut of this movie or something.
So there is the standard deleted scenes. There's a little documentary on it, which I plan to watch later. I probably should have watched it for this. I would have probably got some useful insight, but it seems like Smilex has us covered for that. But yeah, I was kind of shocked. Basically, they just repurposed the leftover 45th anniversary copies for the 50th.
Yeah,
Who is hitting their mic?
It
Sounds like the mic arm someone
Yeah.
has.
It's not me.
Not me.
Still, kid,
It's not me for once.
Yeah.
you don't
Is
even
it
have a
Melvin?
mic arm.
I do like how when you search Susan Beccalini, one of the
Mhm.
top pictures of her is just her naked on the beach. It's great.
Mhm.
Hooray!
That's all you need.
Definitely Melvin.
You know,
Definitely
for a
Melvin.
professional swimmer, I'm surprised. Usually they're very like, yeah, I'm gonna say for the sake of, for the sake of not sounding completely misogynistic, very streamlined in the front. Usually, not so curvatured. But she was not.
This is another actress who was basically a local. She'd done a bit of amateur dramatics, but apparently she was completely unfazed by Hollywood, and did her scenes beautifully, and then would go back home and just start pruning her roses or doing fixing dinner and what have you. She just had no interest in sticking around and meeting people.
Wow, what could have been? I bet. Now, was this before or after Star Wars? No.
Before,
Before.
It
yeah.
was before 77 was Star
Oh,
Wars.
okay.
75.
Okay, cool. Yep. So Brody goes to the police station and he types up the report of shark attack, which of course
Yeah.
has not happened in this town in like forever. So it's obviously a big deal, especially with 4th of July coming up and everything.
There's if you look at that, there's actually some foreshadowing to a future version of Jaws. If you look at the reason, it says revenge.
It was in front of our eyes the entire time.
Damn it! I knew I recognized that shark.
So Brody does the only sensible thing. He's thinking, okay, we have to close this beach down, and he starts going to the local supply store, gets some signs and everything like that, because they actually, I don't think they had any beach closing signs before that. They actually had to make them because didn't they say the beach has never been closed before in the sign?
No, that's right. Yeah. This is all new. They don't have any. Yeah. By the way, I just absolutely love this guy's suit. I love the mayor's suit with his little anchors on it.
Yeah.
I actually prefer the later one, like the pastel.
Yeah, that's cool too.
Yeah.
But I just like the little nautical look on it. That's a nice detail.
The real villain of the movie, might I add. The shark is just nature. This guy is the actual villain of the movie.
Well, I don't know. I mean, he's apparently in real life, this guy is a bit of an alcoholic. He was having about 4 or 5 martinis most days, quite happily. So he spent a bit of time being de-skunked as well, as he stumbled back from a bar and thought he'd seen a kitty cat. only to find himself.
Is that how he met? Is that how he met Spielberg? He came drunken, slumped out of a bar. It's like, hey,
they've been together for 50 years now, so it works out.
Wow.
It's got nothing on Robert Shaw, though.
Well, Robert
Right.
Shaw did
No,
most
damn
of the
right.
movie
No, that's
drunk,
true.
so
Oh, absolutely. This guy was a lightweight compared to him.
So they're talking to Brody on this barge. I don't know where this barge is going though, but as you can see,
that's the main. It's to get off the island and go to the mainland, I think.
It's really not
they
that
said that
far
they
away,
have.
then.
Well, yeah, I mean, most of the time these like small little island communities are only a few miles off the coast. They're usually not particularly far. So
Would you call that manspreading?
Oh, absolutely, that's a dominant pose right there.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
But as you can see, I'm going to go back to the other one though. You see Brody hanging on to the edge of the thing.
Yeah,
he is
he's
terrified.
not happy.
He's
not happy.
terrified of the water. That's why I'm saying that they probably picked his house to manipulate him, because this whole scene, they know he's scared, and they just screwed him the entire time on this.
Is that Carl Gottlieb on the right?
It's a small ferry, Amelia.
Yeah,
small ferry.
That's one of the writers, isn't it?
Yeah, he's the primary. He and Peter Benchley wrote the screenplay.
Yeah.
But he was primarily responsible for fine-tuning everything.
Yeah.
I forgot to do that. I totally forgot to do that.
Quint's speech.
Yeah.
Before I forget, I totally forgot to do this. The $10 from Angry Batman. Thank you. Once again, thank you. But
you're not doing it in an Angry Batman voice. Come on.
Yeah, you have
saw this as a kid, scared me then, still does, but I love it. My kid is 4 now. It seems like a good time to show him it. I'm sure my ex-wife will be fine with it.
Vicky Vale will be fine with it. Don't worry about it.
Wearing hockey.
I do not have throat cancer. Thank you. From now on, I'm reading all of his in
I'm right. Absolutely right. You've got to do that.
Going forward.
So this conversation between them and Brody is that he wants to close the beach, and of course this is a beach town, so you can't close the beach. It would cripple every single business.
Yeah.
Totally.
Yeah. Basically, growing up near towns like this, he's 100% correct. It would basically ruin the town for that year, if not forever. To be honest with you, it took a lot of those beach towns that in New Jersey. It took them until like years later to recover from Sandy, because not only did they have to rebuild stuff, but like they lost business the whole time.
Yeah, they don't make any money in the winter. The tourists are only there for a few weeks.
There's a few here and there that could still like I know on Jenkinson's Boardwalk near Point Pleasant, New Jersey. They have like a aquarium on there that people go to year round, but there's very few businesses that make money year round.
Yeah.
I always love these shots on the beach. I love the deep focus. I love the fact that everyone's in, you can see it. You can see for ages, and they just really evoke a time and a place, I think.
Oh yeah. This part I never understand. This guy has his dog just catching stuff in the ocean.
Dogs love the ocean.
I don't know. I saw a dog day on the back of a pickup truck. I think people are way too cavalier with their animals these days.
Well, I mean, this was 50 years ago. It's not these days.
Good point, though.
The dog gets eaten.
Yeah,
it disappears.
But they make sure not to show it, because that would have actually raised it up to maybe PG-13.
My pug struggles to breathe on land. I don't think she'd be having much fun in the water.
But this is PG and
I don't.
PG-13.
I think it's I don't remember.
It was a PG on video for years in the UK, right up until the DVD release, where they had a documentary attached.
No, it is PG. Holy shit!
I was watching.
It's a PG.
Yeah, it's a PG movie, which is incredible to me.
It got upgraded to a 12, or what would it be, like a 13? I think.
Yeah, PG-13 is the one we use here.
It got upgraded to that when the DVD came out, simply because there's a documentary on it in which they use the F word twice.
Oh, wow.
That's the only reason.
I think I'm not sure. Maybe you guys could correct. Maybe you could correct me, Smilex. But so you're 12. Does that mean that you have to be at least 12, or 12 and down can't see it? Because I've always wondered about that.
You can be 12 and above.
Okay, so yeah, it's 13 and above here. I always just wondered if maybe they were like different wordings of the exact same phrase, like 13 and above or 12 and down can't see it, kind of thing. You know.
The good news is no one at the theater cares enough to check your ID. So
yeah,
that's true.
They couldn't.
I never did.
I love that. I have a tiny little fact about this poor guy, Harry. He was the postmaster on the island, and he was an absolute sweet. Of course he was. He was about 68, and he was an absolute sweetheart in real life. He would answer any children that would send letters to Santa Claus at Christmas. He would answer them all and send them a reply. That's the kind of guy he was. Don't you just love him more now?
And he's also got a hell of a pair of man boobs on him.
Yes, he does.
Yes, he does.
What does Brody tell him? Was that some bad hat, Harry?
Some bad hat, Harry.
That's some bad hat, Harry.
But as a production company, that's
I was going to say, isn't that
Brian
just
Singer? Brian Singer.
Mm-hmm. Is it because of that, or just
it is? Yeah, Bad Hat Harry.
Yeah, that's the reason why.
But Bad Hat Harry is talking to Brody and he's telling him like, oh well, everyone knows you're afraid of the water, so like word really gets around on the small island.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I know everybody.
I mean, you tell 3 people and you've told half the population of the island. So
yeah, can relate. I live in a village of about 200 people. I can relate.
Awesome.
They know everything about me already.
So this is the stick the dog was playing, which we're just gonna hope the dog just swam away and is fine still.
He's perfectly okay. Living in a
so many things make more sense out of
living his best dog life.
Yes,
exactly. Yeah.
He's the goodest boy on a farm somewhere.
He's doing really well, but in a few seconds we're gonna see someone that's not gonna be doing very well. Before that, we got the shark. That's the best part. Like I said with the Godzilla thing, we don't see the shark till way later on in this movie. It's just suspense.
Well, you get a bit of a glimpse of it here, and it's like enormity in terms of how large it is compared to a child in a raft.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
very briefly though. It's very quick.
Well, let's click.
Yes.
Unmute thyself.
Yeah.
Like if you blink, you kind of you don't even really see the entire thing.
Yeah. Which is quite intentional, I suppose. And then one of the greatest zoom
ins of all time.
Oh God, I love that.
So
I do love how he doesn't actually get into the water even like an ankle.
No, he's still terrified.
He plays it really well. He like goes till his toes touch and he runs back and forth.
Now this might sound bad, but this woman looks like his great-great-grandmother or something.
This is what
I love her.
She's adorable, and we'll talk about the. Have you guys ever heard the story where she went to the restaurant?
Yes.
Yes.
No, I haven't heard this story. Go ahead, tell it.
Oh, it's fantastic. So this lovely lady, she was also a local to the island.
Of course.
She actually ran like a theater workshop.
Yeah.
For actors on the island, and she coached like hundreds of young thespians, right? And then one day she goes into this restaurant and she sees on the menu that they have this sandwich, the Alex Kittner. It's a fish sandwich, right?
Oh, okay. Actually, I have heard this.
And she goes, "Oh, I played Alex Kittner's mom in the movie Jaws." And the manager of the restaurant comes like running out. He's like, "I played Alex Kittner."
Mom.
He's like, "Mom, yeah." And they hadn't seen each other since the filming ended. That was it. So it was a nice little story.
In the book she is younger. I mean, she's supposed to be in her like 30s, but this woman's clearly not in her 30s. But the fact that to me gives that whole scene later on a lot more impact, because you realize that this was the last chance child. This is the child that's come out as a surprise or a lot of waiting. And that's why it has more impact. I sort of get a little bit emotional when I watch that.
Wow, that is really deep and sad.
Right, but that's why I think it's so good.
That became so much more sadder than it had to be.
Exactly. That's why I think it's got more impact.
So afterwards, we have a town hall meeting where a $3,000 bounty has been offered for the shark.
I wonder what that is in modern money. Let me find out.
Yeah.
It's at least 10,000.
Yeah, I want to say it is, but
Well, later
we'll figure
on,
it out.
Quint says 10,000. He wants that. So what does that equal? Like 50,000?
Yeah, give me a minute here. We'll figure this. Keep going. I'll tell you in a second.
So so the woman in the background there, this is like the beauty of watching things with subtitles. I didn't realize this the first 1,000 times watching this movie, but she was saying how she is a motel owner.
Yeah.
And how closing the beach would cripple her business. She's like, oh well, not just because I'm a motel owner, for everyone else too, though. So she's also
the $3,000 in modern money would be $17,793.27, and $10,000 would be no, okay. Hold on. I added an extra zero for. I was about to be like, no way. Just shy of 60 grand.
Wow.
So I mean, it is a little when you think of it in that context, it is a little crazy that when he says, "Hey, I'll do it for 60 grand for this town."
Well, the good news is they never had to pay him.
Yes, they get it for free.
Yeah, Brody took the money.
Always looking at the bright side, right?
Yeah, Hooper and Brody fucking split it. Yeah, so they're talking about, yes, we're thinking about closing it down, but the mayor interjects and says, "Oh no, only for 24 hours."
Yeah.
But,
Hey, we didn't agree to that.
Completely in denial, and you have to understand that. Of course, his first priority is to the people.
This teen, I hate chalkboards, nails. Hate it.
One of the best introductions.
Oh God, I love it.
There's no way that's Robert Shaw's hand.
No,
that's a very dainty hand.
That is.
Yeah.
Now, where is this taking place? Because I wish I had I don't have the slide of it though. But the shark, you'll see that it has a little person inside of it.
Yeah.
So this is definitely
so
the mayor's office / when he walks out, you see like the different departments. So this is probably just the town, like whatever the town hall is. Yeah. You see like waterworks department, stuff like that. So they're all in a town like this. It's all in one building because they don't need probably.
And it's probably the old schoolhouse.
Absolutely, they're probably doing a nursery every morning in there and doing it and using it for something else in the afternoon. It's like
There's also a lot of these kind of towns, people will wear multiple hats, like from 10 to noon. They'll be come pay your water bill. Then they take lunch, they come back, and it's like, now come pay your electric bill, like from 12:30 to 2:30 or something like that.
Well, everyone on this town's also an actor too. Who would have guessed?
It would appear so.
Yes,
that's handy.
So Quint is, of course, the shark aficionado killer of the island, and he's telling them that yes, he'll do it by himself, which I found really odd. It's like, you're really going to go out by yourself to get this shark? I don't know. I wish he kind of had some kind of a crew with him or anything.
Well, he has. He's got that guy to the right. That guy's his first mate, who's another.
You don't really see him later on, though.
No, true, but I mean, I think he gets shoehorned out of the picture by the others, but that's supposed to be his first mate.
Yeah, that's what.
I don't know if this is true or not, but I read somewhere where that guy was like the accent coach to Robert Shaw.
He's one of them. There's another guy as well who you see him as, I think he's like one of the harbor masters. You'll definitely see him. But he's one of the inspirations because he just has they all have these faces, these weathered faces on the island of people who've been fishing, and their hands are all cut up from multiple tears from fish wire and what have you. So they couldn't get that by dragging Californians across to this place. So that's why people like that are in the picture, and they do give it a lot of character.
So Amelia, he doesn't know how big it actually is. That phrase applies to so many people in history, just thinking they can take on something by themselves and finding out all too late that it's just not possible.
Well, but what does he say though? He'll find it for 3, but kill it for 10.
Yeah.
Like he's just.
He'll point it out to somebody else.
I mean, the amount of women who have been with Liam Neeson and said that they could take it by themselves. It's just
exactly.
Also drawn in half.
Yeah.
So then we cut to Brody and his wife, and he's reading a shark book, just trying to brush up on sharks. And his son is out on the little boat that he bought him, and Brody starts freaking out that, what are you doing on the water? His wife's like, oh, it's okay. I mean, he's never gonna. after today, he might never go on the water again. So Brody, of course, didn't want to instill fear of the
Yes, he
ocean
did.
to him.
Yes, he did.
Well-
He wanted to instill fear too. Oh, you mean before
Well,
this?
No,
irrationally,
later
he
on.
wanted to scare him a little bit. Then he realizes what he's doing. He's thinking, I'm just putting my phobias on him, and
Exactly.
reconsiders it.
But then his wife reads the book and sees a
Yeah.
shark picture.
Yeah,
and
it's-
And it's a lovely bit of foreshadowing by
Yeah.
Spielberg, isn't it?
Yeah, there's actually a lot of foreshadowing on
Mhm.
There's
this.
tons
There
of
is.
it.
Yeah.
There is.
Yeah. So then we have two guys that decide to let's just put a hook on a nice roast and throw it in the ocean, and let's just see what we catch. And
What's
of
the
course-
worst that could happen?
Absolutely.
Well, realistically, they could not have expected this shark to be big enough to pull the dock off of its, hinges, so to say. Like they couldn't have expected that.
no,
shit.
true enough.
But what
True
was the plan though? They don't really have anything else with them.
Yeah, they do.
They have
They
chains.
have they have other gear with them. It's on the other side of the dock.
Just feel like it's a big.
They brought a boat full of gear.
They did quite intentionally make a lot of the fishermen quite stupid, though, on this.
Yeah,
thing.
they did.
So that therefore, by comparison, Quint looks like an expert.
Is it stupid or they just didn't know the?
They're
the girth
very
of the shark?
ignorant of what they're dealing with. They've never had a shark. Now you got to remember they even say that the shark that they catch in
It's
the very
incredibly
near future
rare, unusual.
is incredibly rare in this area, and that's
Right.
half the size of the one that.
They're thinking about something that they caught, which
Well,
you
it
see in the
also
book
plays
later on.
into the fact that the audience hasn't seen how big this thing is
Yeah.
either.
Mhm.
Yeah,
So
well,
just-
it tears the hell out of this.
Yeah, the
dock.
Liam Neeson shark is something else, man.
Yeah, but
The
thankfully-
cellos really go for it in this scene as well. This is the bit where the music really goes for it when that thing comes off.
Well, actually, that makes me realize I wanted to bring this up before, but because of how things started and Melvin's issues with the mic, I didn't get a chance to. Is there a more iconic song than the Jaws theme?
No.
I do not think there is.
I think it's here's a nice little story for you. I've seen this played live with an orchestra a few times. I saw it once at the
Same.
Albert Hall, and it was just every time it gets played, they play the first few notes, and then the audience giggles.
Yes.
The audience giggles. There's a little bit of nervous laughter that filters around the room, and then the last time I saw it, the orchestra stopped when that happened, and the conductor turned around and
Yes.
said, looked around and said, "I know, we all know now."
So yeah, here's my reasoning. Go
I
ahead.
have a story about it.
Go ahead,
too.
Babs. Go ahead.
So
I'll
I
talk about it after.
I actually saw John Williams conducting the LA Philharmonic at the Hollywood
Wow.
Bowl. And when the first
Yeah.
note of this came, when that low bass note comes in, the crowd went nuts. And John Williams stopped the orchestra, turned around, and said, "It's coming."
So that's what I wanted to say is I mean obviously first of all what did we use before this movie came out to signify a shark, because that's clearly in anything
It's
like
something primal, isn't it? I mean,
Yeah.
I would say what John Williams does with the two notes, you could say Bernard Herrmann did with one in Psycho, but and scared the crap out of showers for us.
yeah,
but,
that's that one's it's up there, but
I think this one actually has more a more appeal, a more global appeal, because if you're in
I
open
agree.
water at all, even if you're not in open water, even if you're in a swimming bath, and somebody starts doing that music, you
Yeah.
instantly just feel a
You
little
look
bit
around.
uneasy.
But here's the thing: it's not only do you know it immediately from that first note, you just hear it, and it's this guttural reaction. You know exactly what it is. But what I'm saying is like it has been used so much. I mean, they use it in Spaceballs.
Yeah.
For fucking God's sake, they literally use it for then the ship is going in the beginning for Spaceballs. So it's been used for so many things. Shark Tale, the movie Shark Tale, they use it as a joke.
Yeah.
Any other shark-based thing, it gets used in some way, shape, or form as a gag.
Mhm.
Whereas the
It is iconic. It's absolutely
it's so iconic. I think it's if it's not number one, it's in the top 3 of most
Definitely, yeah.
iconic musics of all time.
I would say the Godzilla theme and Star Wars. Those
Yeah.
are probably the top 3.
Yeah, maybe even a bit of Superman, possibly, because they're the kind of things that you always hear at the start of sport arena games and big concerts and stuff. But yeah, I think that this piece of music is so primal. It's so simple, and I can only imagine what Spielberg's reaction would have been like to hear him play it the first time round on a piano. He's just going, What? Where's the rest of it?
Indiana Jones is up there too, Rachel. I would say Indiana Jones is very. We're all talking about like. I mean, we're splitting hairs on the most iconic here. We're talking about the top of the top.
And how many of them have actually been John Williams? Because it's like
it's all John Williams.
It's literally all John Williams.
75 to 85. I mean, I think that man had just created so many great.
I just want to point out, Little Englander only goes ankle high into cold English water. In my mind, and I know this isn't true. I think of like English men still wearing those old school full body, outfits. Like
we have hankies on our heads as well.
Yeah,
little knotted hankies.
I know that's not the case, but in my mind, it's just funnier.
So then we get the next day. This is what I really thought was a smart idea. Just send 100 boats out there and get the shark.
Yeah.
Like, why does that
tiny boats?
Why
really
does that
tiny
not
boats.
work? But then we meet the next star of the movie, Hooper, the young oceanographer from the Oceanographic Institute. So of course Brody brought him in to consult on the shark and the whereabouts of how to get him and everything. But of course, these two are just completely overwhelmed. As you saw in the scene over here, though, they're all just scrambling into boats. There's no organization whatsoever. It's just, hey, $3,000. Let's go out and get this thing. Yeah. So
it gets a good line here. There's an ad lib from one of the cast. He says something like, "Does anybody in that case? Does anybody know where I can get a good meal or something?" And they say, "Yeah, just walk straight ahead," as if walking off the dock.
That's super.
Apparently, Dreyfuss hated that. He said, "I don't like being the butt of the joke with my opening scene, but it stayed in the film, so screw you, Dreyfuss."
Yeah, it worked out really well in the end. Yep. So yes, they introduce each other, and then they go see the. I'm sorry. Here's all the.
That's one of the coaches for Quint.
Yeah,
that's the real life Quint. Really, that man there. He's a.
He looks like him.
He looks like Quint.
Yankee fisherman.
Were there any Oscars for Quint's actor at all in this?
No, I think Jaws got pretty much snubbed.
Like, did this movie?
It was nominated
or something.
No.
Oh, it didn't. Okay. Oh no, you're right. It's like one of the
One
top
Flew Over the
3
Cuckoo's Nest came out the same year, so I think One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest just took everything that year.
Yeah.
Maybe it won the Golden Globe. Maybe I mixed it up because my description says it did. But.
It got nominated a lot. I think the only win it had was John Williams. I could be wrong, but
John Williams had to have won for this one.
But yeah, this was the movie that began the summer blockbuster movies. It began the tentpole features of the summer.
Yeah.
Because up until this point, honestly, big box office movies weren't really released in the summer because that was when people were out having fun and going to the beach on the 4th of July and things like that. This was the movie that started the whole summer blockbuster.
Interestingly, though, I did find a press clipping from a year before when they were filming these shots on the island, and it was referred to as Universal's soon-to-be smash hit movie. So they were expecting something from this film, but I don't think they were expecting anything like what they got, but they were expecting it to do okay.
Well, that's the only reason they would have let a new director like Spielberg go 3 times over budget and schedule.
Well, I guess that's true. Yeah.
What could the budget have been? He used mostly local people too.
Wasn't a great deal.
It wasn't a lot. I think
they had filming on the ocean that delayed everything, not just the shark.
The budget was like $4 million, I think.
Yeah,
but then
somewhere around that. Yeah,
to like $14 million.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Okay. $9.99 from Flummoxed Buffoon 87, which is a great name. We're gonna need a bigger live stream, which I meant to say that at the beginning, but because Smilex was in, I fucked up. So I'm glad somebody reminded me. Here's to swimming with bow-legged YouTubers, VTubers, and let's bring 3 barrels below a breakdown. Have a great stream. I keep going to say the actual lines as I go to say that. Thank you for the super chat. Yeah, every time I went to go say the line that he was changing, my brain automatically went to the real line.
Those guys are all real people on the island again. They're all dead now. They're all dead now. No, but they apparently they were all filmed by, you know, obviously the camera crews were all there doing, you know, on boats around them, and they were fantastic when they were just pootling around between shots. But as soon as they said, "Okay, rolling and action," they got all really self-conscious about the camera and started to freeze up. So Spielberg just took the just decided to say, "Okay, that's a wrap," and then they went back to doing what they were doing, and that's when he started filming the camera, started rolling the camera.
Just start secretly recording people the whole time.
It could not get them to do anything when he turned the cameras on.
It's weird when I look at this particular screenshot, and I don't know if it's because of the height of the water, like the wave, but the boats with the most people seem to be the highest up, and the ones who have one or two seem to be like they're about to sink. So I do know that there's the whole line about how they're overloading boats.
Yeah.
Yep. So Hooper and Brody go to do the autopsy on the woman, and Hooper determines that no, this was not a propeller. It wasn't Jack the Ripper. This was a shark attack.
I love Travis's reaction when they pull out just like a dishpan for the corpse.
Because it's just a hand and like part of her skull and another part of an arm, basically.
Yeah, he really does sell this. You know, he needs a cup of water and everything too. So yeah, this is definitely really cool. However, they caught a shark, and they believe that this is the shark that killed Alex Kintner.
Yeah. Everybody wants to believe that this is it and the problem is solved.
Well, I mean, again, how can you possibly fathom how big the other shark is they get later on? And how many sharks have they ever seen here?
This is Oscar the shark, by the way. It was nicknamed Oscar by the
name?
crew. Yeah, well, they found him in Florida because they couldn't find one in the area that was anywhere near as big. So they basically got this one and shipped it over, and they put on the side of the crate Oscar. But he needed more makeup than pretty much any of the actors because apparently, because they're so primal, these creatures, that as soon as you take them out of the water, they basically start to decompose almost immediately.
Yes.
So that thing was reeking by about 3 hours out of the water.
Well, a lot of sharks. I mean, I know great whites you can't even keep in captivity; they just die.
They die.
No, you can't keep them in.
It doesn't matter how big. They've tried it where they made miles wide, enclosures, and it's just something about once they feel like they're trapped, they just refuse to eat and die.
Wow, I thought that Star Wars 3 line was bullshit about she lost the will to live. Apparently, that's a real thing.
So basically, it's essentially they are. The way Hooper explains it later, that they just do three things, and if they're not allowed to do one of the three things, they just refuse to do the other two.
Wow, prima donnas, nice. So yeah, that Hooper's measuring the mouth of the shark, and he's completely unconvinced by it. The mayor shows up, and they're all happy because again, they all think, okay, well, the weekend's saved. We did it, boys. But Hooper realized that no, this isn't the this probably isn't the shark. The bite radius is wrong, but let's just cut him open now and see if Alex Kintner's in there. But of course, the mayor puts a stop to that.
Well,
we can't do that now.
Yeah, in defense of the mayor, I would not want them to risk cutting open the shark and having a kid fall out. No, that would be terrible.
Days before the 4th of July, and you've got your tourists coming in. You don't want that. Nobody.
I mean, who knows? You might get a different kind of levels of tourists at that point. Be like, come watch us reveal the dead remains of a child, and it's like,
especially when Alex Kintner's mother shows up, and obviously her grandfather in the background.
Yeah. It's obviously her husband. But I mean, this
actually, I don't know. I think he's supposed to be her dad.
I think it's her father.
And I think they both come strate from the funeral, hence why she's dressed the way she is.
Yeah.
I get it. She's a nice woman in real life and everything, but I think this was a terrible casting choice. You could have got someone a lot younger.
It should have been some. Honestly, I would have liked to see that big buoy broad for earlier in the movie.
Of course you would have.
That one that didn't even need an inner tube to float in the water. That one. She would have been great for this scene. She would have put a lot of.
You would be perfect for this role.
Yeah, she would. She would have put a lot of weight behind this slap. Like Sydney Sweeney. Yeah, if they did a modern remake, this would be Sydney Sweeney, and she would have been in that sequence. She would have been topless when she was when the kid was asking to go into the water. It would be a nude beach, but only for Sydney Sweeney.
Of course.
This lady could not fake a slap. Yeah. And she ended up hitting Roy Scheider for 17 takes.
Yeah, she said that she said that she'd done amateur dramatics, and she knew to keep her wrist fairly loose, but Spielberg kept saying, "No, keep going, do it more, harder, do it more."
Yeah.
And there's a couple of takes where she knocks his glasses off. I think the first time she knocked his glasses off, she spun round and said to Spielberg, "Oh my God, I'm so sorry." And he said, "No, that was the best one, and now we've ruined the shot because you broke character."
Do it again.
So we're gonna do another 10.
It's funny. I've been punched in the face so many times. I would rather get punched 10 times than slapped once. The stinging of a slap is just so painful.
I think Scheider had done a bit of boxing, so he didn't mind getting hit in the face that much. But yeah, I can imagine this would not have been a great day for him.
No.
You know, now that I think about it, now I was obviously joking about the Sydney Sweeney thing, but she would probably play the opening girl.
Yeah, she would.
Like if they were to recast this
In 3D.
like,
She would jump at the opportunity
She'd
to
be
be
like-
there for 5 seconds and
she'd be like,
topless.
I get to be naked and blonde? That's like my two best things that I do.
But then I'd miss the rest of the film because I would have to have a little nap after that scene.
Yes.
I'd be all worn out for some reason.
So Alex Kittner's mom shows up, and obviously in her funeral regalia.
She's
And
she's just been walking around in her funeral garb just since.
I'm going to assume it's a very small town. Like it's just up the
Quite
road.
literally, the funeral is happening on the other block.
Just behind those houses.
Nobody attended the funeral. They just attended the shark unveiling.
Yes.
See, her backstory gets so much sadder the more we
Right.
talk about it. Yeah, but
I
she
think
realizes.
on the reaction shot from his side, I think you get to see the Amity house from Amityville Horror over his shoulder in the other reverse shot.
So now I got to
You really?
recast her since I took Sydney Sweeney off. So I'm thinking Alexandra Daddario.
Oh, that'll work.
Yeah, there we go. Okay. I'm going to keep doing this as we go along. I'm going to
Good
recast these characters. Only the
She-
women.
So she's upset because she realizes that yes, there was a shark attack, and you guys didn't say anything. You didn't close the beaches. You just
Yeah.
let this happen. And
Yeah.
yes, her son's death obviously could have been prevented.
Indeed, yeah.
Well, and
Yes.
Brody just soaks it up, even knowing that it was the mayor, not him. He
does, yeah.
He
You're
lets
right.
her let loose on him.
Yeah, and the mayor even says it wasn't your fault. He says yes, it was. So, like you said, even though he doesn't have the final say, he still feels obviously incredibly guilty about this whole
Yeah.
thing.
It's a good scene.
So that
This is a
nighttime,
good scene. This is a good scene too.
There's not a bad scene in this.
I know,
movie.
Honestly,
right?
there isn't.
the one thing about this is a majority of the movie is talking. And it's not until the last 40 minutes or so that we really get into the boat and really get into the shark stuff.
Mhm.
But it never drags. It
No,
never
no.
feels like the talking makes it slow down because each conversation builds off the last and builds toward the next.
Something kind of comfortable about this film. I don't know what it is. There's something very comforting about it. It all just feels very low budget kind of indie movie to some degree, but the acting is just so beautiful. And as I say, maybe it is partly down to the fact that you don't see them as actors because you don't know them from anything else. But it's very easy to fall in love with this film.
Oh, absolutely. It's every scene is perfect. Every camera angle is needed for a reason, and every actor. I mean, it's even better when you learn that everyone on the island was kind of cast and stuff like
Yeah.
that. It just gives a little bit more heart to it.
Yeah.
So
The
Hooper
kid
shows up. I'm
Sorry, go
you
on.
were saying?
No, go. No, sorry. I was just going to say the little kid. The whole thing with him matching his face and doing the little thing, that was just improv. That was the kid just playing, and Roy Schneider went over to Spielberg and said, "Come on, look at this. Just grab the camera and just come and look at this." And they got it in about 2 takes.
Oh, that's really nice.
He
Though.
just did that to him.
Yeah. So
Very
Hooper
cool.
shows up and he takes Brody's dinner and starts eating. He brought some wine and they're just talking about the shark. And this is where, if they went with the book, I imagine this is, I guess, where the wife would start the affair with him because she's just really.
Oh yeah, you can tell she wants to just climb right under the table. And just,
Yeah.
I mean, who wouldn't want a piece of that? Look at him.
I like to think that he has like a very similarly trimmed beard down below. With
Right?
like,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
Oh,
Absolutely.
absolutely. He's a
So
professional.
You're
Very-
saying he's a good
very-
cat?
I do love how. So that's a glass of like iced tea or something there. I can't quite tell what it is, but it has ice in it, so I'm gonna go with iced tea. And he fills it to the rim
Yep.
with the red wine.
Well,
Yes.
before that, Hooper's saying, "Oh, you have to let it breathe, though," and then Brody just keeps pouring
He's
the
already
entire
halfway
thing.
into pouring it out.
Looks at his
Yeah,
wife,
whatever.
pours her entire glass too. So
There's a
Yeah,
nice bit of continuity where after they go out after this, he's got the bottle of white wine.
Yes.
yes,
Mhm.
yes, they do.
He's brought that with him.
But I do like. So they decide, let's get really drunk and go cut the shark open.
Mm-hmm.
So they cut it open. It has some fish in it.
Oh, it
license-
smells so bad. So bad this would
Yes, it
smell.
does.
What's the white stuff on the ground? though? 'Cause
It's stomach acid.
Mhm.
It's
oh, okay.
it's bile. It's bile. It's
Shark
It's
just
never. Yeah, okay.
Mm-mm.
Oh, it's pretty cool. Yep. So the problem is the problem is there's no dead body. There's no little boy in this
Right.
shark though. Yeah. So
There is,
Yeah.
however, a fun little Easter egg with the license plate, because Spielberg has long been known that he wanted to direct a James Bond movie. And so when you see the license plate that says Louisiana 1973, well, that's for
Oh, obviously.
Live and Let
Live and Let
Die.
Die, yeah. Live and Let
And
Die.
you'll see that the first letters are 007.
Oh, that's very cool.
See, this is a movie where you have to watch it 1,000 times. This is a movie where you have to do all the director's commentary and the online stuff about it, because there's so much more to this movie than just, hey, a shark is attacking people.
Right.
Just like that detail right there gives it so much replay value.
And I guess this is the scene that pretty much inspired the terrible plastic shark toy that many of us had as kids. Did anybody else have that
Oh,
thing?
yeah.
Where it was a bit
No.
like Buckaroo, where you had to sort of you had the open shark's mouth, and you could like dip in with like a hook to try and grab
Uh-huh.
items out of it, and it would snap shut if you were if you were terrible at it, which I was.
So
yeah, it was plastic tap.
For the longest time in my office, I had this anatomy of a great white shark in my for my students to come in and read while they were waiting for parents to come and pick them up or whatever. And but I had to take it away because it just got rough handled too much. The pieces of the shark were breaking apart, his liver was missing, and all this other stuff. But man, kids are fascinated with that stuff. I was. I still am.
Hell, that's why Jurassic Park movies make so much money. It's the same thing.
Yeah.
They love it. They love a monster.
So, speaking of monsters, they decide to go out on the ocean to try to find the shark. That's what I found really, really strange. Hooper's like, hey, I'm going to go find the shark at nighttime. And Brody's like, oh, well, we can't do that. He's like, yes, you can. Of course we can.
I'm not
So-
drunk enough to get on a boat.
Yeah.
Yes, you are.
Yeah,
You are?
It's like this guy, the balls of Hercules on him to think that. Like,
Well,
what was
he
gonna happen if
also
he
has
finds the
no
shark?
idea how big this shark is either.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
like I saw a video a while ago. It was a guy capturing a shark, and the shark was really flailing. So the guy pulls out a gun and shoots the shark in the face.
I
and
mean,
kills
in
it.
fairness,
Like,
they try to do
no-
that multiple times later.
Well, yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, no one really seems prepared of let's just gun this thing down. Like, hey, we're gonna go out there and throw a roast at it, and we'll just reel it in. It's like, why don't
Well,
you just gun it
this-
down?
This isn't a let's go capture it mission. This is a reconnaissance mission. He's trying to figure out what's going on. They're not going out there to try and get this thing right now.
No, I that makes of course that makes a lot of sense what you're saying though. It's just what happens when you find the shark? Like, what happens if the shark just shows up?
Well, this is a much faster boat than the orca, because this is not a fishing
The
boat.
orca's
This is-
1,000 years old. Looks like.
well, the orca looks like it probably shouldn't even be. The orca looks kind of like that bigger.
Yeah.
Just like,
The
but
orca is just an ancient fishing boat that
Yeah.
should have been dry docked
Yeah.
decades early.
this is a much faster boat. So if they were to encounter it, they could outrun it easily.
It's mostly a research vessel.
Yeah.
Yes, and then he talks about how he paid for all this stuff himself and his family's rich. Do we really get more into that about what his family does?
No, not
Because
really.
he does say that he's like, "Oh, are you rich?" Like, yeah, I'm rich, and so is the family.
No, I think the YouTubers probably.
There's probably a 10-hour.
Oh yeah,
director's
yes.
cut
We
about it.
are raking it in.
Got that rumble money, yo.
Right? Exactly.
I got what 3 super chats for a total of $22 or something like that, and I'm gonna net like $10 from that. Just
Oh,
you
there
see,
you
just
go.
watch.
You
That's
get
the way it works, everybody.
a cheap bottle of red.
Go out and get yourself something nice.
I'm gonna get myself maybe a burrito if they don't raise the price of the burrito.
They will. You know, my local Chipotle had a buy one get one free if you show your tattoos there. Like, what happens if I have something
Well,
below the belt?
You just show them, just whip it out, bro. Just be like,
Yeah, that's true though. But
like this is the reason they call me Fire Crotch. I got some flames down here.
I don't want one burrito from Chipotle, much less two.
Chipotle's fine. I mean, it's not the greatest thing you've ever eaten, but it's not fine.
No,
Just you Californians with your. I mean, I guess I can't really speak much on that. I'm a pizza snob, so I can't really say much about.
Would you go to
snobbery.
Jersey Mike's for a cheesesteak?
Jersey Mike's actually isn't bad.
Oh my god!
I mean, I've literally been to the original Jersey Mike's though. I prefer their Jersey Mike's. I like their tuna with their blended seasonings.
I hate their tuna.
They're just overpriced. Jersey Mike's problem is they're horribly overpriced.
You could
got
do
the
it at
real
home
thing
for so
right
much
there at your
cheaper.
fingertips. Oh my gosh!
I don't know. I feel that way about California Pizza Kitchen. It's trash.
That shouldn't those words shouldn't even be put together in a sentence. Nevertheless, a name.
Oh, it's real bad.
It's bad.
I did a for my actual real world job that doesn't involve the name Dark Hour. I went down. I was checking out some venue properties down in like South Jersey, and I realized why people don't think Jersey pizza is inferior to New York pizza very quickly. I was like, this is horrible. I'm never ordering this shit again. You get close to Philly, they lose their pizza ability. They do gain cheesesteak ability though, so it's kind of a give or take.
You have to go to Brooklyn and get Spumoni Gardens.
Spumoni Gardens good.
The owner was killed by the
Spumoni
mafia.
Gardens. Oh yeah, I know.
Yep, he was killed for the pizza recipe.
Yep.
But speaking of pizza recipes, they show up on Brett Garner's Mangle.
Brett Gardner, the former outfielder for the New York Yankees.
Yeah, he was a local. And Spielberg's like, hey, you want to be in a movie? Yep. So Hooper jumps into the water and finds a giant shark tooth, and of course it was kind of blurry to see, but the face of Brett
There's
Gardner.
the head.
That looks like Michael Myers mask, which is obviously just a Shatner mask. So actually, this guy was William Shatner. That's who it was.
Suddenly Shatner.
I'm surprised the story isn't like, oh, Spielberg needed to cast a dead person and they found someone that died right before that and paid the family off, and
Barbara, what we watched a video. Isn't the real head actually at Universal Studios?
I think so.
They got rid of the Jaws ride at Universal.
Yeah, they kept breaking down, just like the real Jaws animatronic. They had no choice.
Still have it in Japan, though. Still have it in Japan.
Yeah, they still have it in Japan. And I can't remember if it was Florida or if it was Hollywood that had it, but one of them has it.
Well, Florida definitely doesn't have it. So. I was going to say, I don't think there's anything in Florida for Jaws anymore.
When Spielberg found out that they had trashed the orca and thrown it away, he was livid.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because they had it there for a long time, didn't they? And then I think they tried to either move it or repair it, and they just broke
accidentally sunk it.
Yeah, well, I think it snapped into pieces when they tried lifting it. This attack, which we obviously haven't seen on this boat, and poor old Ben Gardner here, they did storyboard it, and it was a big sequence with the shark sort of leaping out and doing what the shark does to Quint at the end of the film. But Spielberg decided that was showing too much of the shark too soon, so therefore that whole thing just gets omitted. So we're kind of left with a bit of a mystery as to exactly what happened that caused this poor guy to be in here. But we
will always have pizza discussions on this stream as long as I'm running this stream and it's on my channel. So therefore,
Razorhead, screw you.
Super mod eraser head right there. That's the last one for this one.
Barbara, is this part of the stuff that they filmed in Spielberg's pool, or is that later? Oh, it is. Okay.
Yeah.
That's the ocean. What do you mean? Yes.
Oh, yes.
That whole scene was filmed in Spielberg's pool.
Yeah.
Man, to have that Spielberg pool money, that's where it's at.
Yeah, they did stuff in his pool. They did eventually do stuff on the back lot as well. But
so the first scene was really, he was just like, "Hey, I got this naked woman in the back. Can we just like go film that? Like, she's just in my pool. You got a camera?"
that was all real. He just wanted to get rid of her. No one will ever believe it. Yep. So the next day,
it was a boating accident.
Oh yeah, of course it was.
In the pool.
There's a little moment in this scene where Hooper has to give the Latin name for the shark, the Carcarius, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
And he could never say the line. He always trips over the words. So eventually they put it on cue cards for him. And when he actually says the words, if you look at it closely the next time, you can see him looking over to the right because he's reading it phonetically off this cue card. Because he
I've
just could not
actually
say it.
Some of my scripts, there's been times where a certain line I fumbled up so much that what I do is I bust it up, not phonetically because I know how to pronounce the words, but I'll bust it up into where each word of the line is a different line, and it can get you sometimes. Yeah,
sometimes you just get two words or a phrase, and you say it enough times, then it just becomes meaningless.
Nothing is worse than when you get, so let's say you have a line in your script when you're making a video, and you, let's say it's 15 words long, and you get 13 words in past the part you normally fuck up, and you fuck up on the part that's not hard, and you're like, there's been times where I stopped recording that night because I was just like, I'm done. I can't deal with it.
See, I'm the opposite, where if I keep screwing up a line, I'll just put it in there. I'm like, no, I'm not going to edit. I'm just going to leave it in there and let people be like when I was talking about Dune 2, I'll talk about Dennis Villeneuve. I can never get his name right.
Villeneuve.
Yeah.
Well, sometimes I'll do that. Sometimes, but I usually pick that ahead of time. Like if I know I'm just not going to be able to pronounce a word or something, and I'm going to fumble on it, I'll be like, just fuck it up however it is. But it's when it's something that normally I wouldn't have a problem saying, but as I'm reading it, it's just I'm fumbling on it for some reason. Why is there birds?
What the hell is that?
Yeah, it's Resident Evil. I don't know. It's not me.
We're watching a Hitchcock movie in the background.
We're not doing the birds yet.
Sorry, those are our crows.
Yeah, there's a murder of crows that.
Greatest name for a group of animals, might I add? A murder of crows.
Yeah. Speaking of murdering crows, though, so they're talking to the mayor about that. Yes, I found the shark, the shark tooth the size of a shot glass, and we have to close the beach down. This thing is getting out of hand. People are dying now, and yeah, the mayor just completely doesn't care. He's more concerned that the I can't pronounce the word. Vandalism of the sign behind them. And Hooper sounds like, that shark fin's actually quite accurate. This thing just eats and sleeps with other sharks, and that's all it wants to do, which is a perfect evolution of killing machines and everything.
It eats, sleeps, swims, and fucks. It's essentially what he says.
Yeah.
Yeah, the vandalism cracks me.
I feel like the fin should be way bigger, though, right?
Well, comparatively to her,
again, they probably thought that was monstrously big, but whatever.
I swear, this is average.
Enough time.
This is average.
So then, of course, the 4th of July, I guess boats are dropping off all the tourists and everything's just a happy-go-lucky time. The beach dwellers are everywhere, but of course we have 1,000 boats in the ocean of National Guard with armed to the teeth and everything like that.
It's not. Well, I think it's part of the Coast Guard, and then there's some volunteers as well. Because some of them don't look like they're like official. Some of them look like they're just kind of there.
That's Peter Benchley.
There's a writer.
He must be melting in that suit, by the way.
Probably not. I bet everyone else is just a bit bloody scared. But
I guess they didn't film it in July.
So. No, they were filming it in sort of April and May. This is not a fun time.
Well, that's cold then.
Yeah.
Did not know that.
So they didn't get that many shots that were. You could see actually as you watch this movie, you can see that the weather changes from shot to shot quite often. There's grey skies 1 second and golden sunshine the next. So
you can tell by this guy's nipples that it's definitely
and those flags.
I was just going to say that.
Probably the flags blowing in the wind.
You don't get Sydney Sweeney, but you get this.
I mean, it's
who says we haven't got something for the ladies?
I mean, to each their own. So the mayor's walking around and he's talking to people. He's like, "Hey, you guys aren't going to go in the water? Yeah, come on. It's all safe and everything like that." Because obviously everyone is petrified of going in the water. And this guy decides
he basically forces these couple.
How about you go in the water?
Yeah,
I'm wearing a suit. I mean, I can't possibly go in the water. I'm wearing
exactly. And we got the helicopters going around everywhere. Like, this seems like it's pretty secure at this point.
So it's weird because I feel like if they knew that it was this enormous great white, so yes, it is true that a majority of shark attacks do happen 3 feet deep and 10 feet from the shore, but that's because the majority of sharks are not that big. A lot of them are smaller. If you've been to an aquarium, you've seen plenty of small sharks, and they usually like attack your ankles or feet.
And also, that's a bit weird because, of course, that's where most human beings are going to get eaten.
Exactly.
That's where we are.
Yeah.
You know?
But if they knew the enormity of this shark, they would be able to set up a perimeter and be like, don't exceed these buoys and you're safe.
Mm-hmm.
The problem is but then it doesn't actually make sense because then he goes in the pond area and he's way too big for that section. That's like the one continuity error that I don't really like, because he would never fit in that shallow water right there and be able to move around like that.
Also, why would he go there? Wouldn't he go where more people are anyway?
They don't really explain that.
The shark's not going to know. Like the National Guard's outside and everything.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, like that's the one issue I have is there's no way he'd be able to fit in those like.
Well, if we want to
waters.
nitpick, actually, the mayor this whole time has been saying, "Well, no one's going to come for 4th of July. The beach is packed. It's just that no one's in the water. These people are all spending money in town.
Absolutely, yeah.
They don't need to be in the water. That's the funny part.
Right.
They don't.
Although suntan lotion sales are probably dropped.
Oh, absolutely.
No, they've actually probably gone up because now people are just.
Yeah, but they're not having to reapply, are they?
Yeah.
But the beach chair rentals have gone through the roof.
Absolutely. Ice cream sales, massive.
That's what's single-handedly funding this island, apparently. Yeah. So as the people are
the shark
swimming,
read the script. He had to go.
Right,
he was like, "Hey, I don't actually. It doesn't make sense that I have to go there." And they were like, "Just do what you're told."
yeah. His
Like,
first time.
Bruce. This is your first.
Not
movie.
getting
Come
in
on.
the ocean, Edith Cole.
Is that really his name, Bruce?
Yeah.
Yeah, the name of the
So,
animatronic is
like
Bruce.
with Finding Nemo, where the shark's name is Bruce.
Yeah,
and
yes.
they do it for
They
the-
named him after Spielberg's lawyer at the time.
Oh,
Because he was a
Makes
he was
sense.
because his lawyer was a shark, a bit of a shark.
didn't know that.
He had a-
Most lawyers are sharks.
Exactly. So yeah, that was the joke.
Speaking of sharks, though, as they're swimming, a shark fin comes behind these two women here, and they start freaking out. They start, yelling for everyone to get out of the ocean. They're blowing whistles. Brody's telling them, no whistles, because apparently sharks could hear the whistles and it enrages them or something, or just.
There's a lot of stuff that's changed over the last 50 years of what we know about sharks, but yeah, that was one of the theories that the whistles can sort of aggravate them a little bit. They can hear
I don't think sharks have particularly good hearing, if I recall correctly. Now,
Where
like,
the
it's
hell
been
are the ears on a shark?
I have no idea.
I think that
all those holes, those are
Yeah.
fins. Like, where's the ears on a shark?
historically, it's easy to tell what animal, like, if an animal has a really good sense of smell or a really good sense of hearing, generally other things are deficient. I know their vision is not particularly great.
Mhm.
I'm not
Yeah,
sure
that's
about
why,
their hearing.
that's why an awful lot of attacks happen, isn't it? Because they
Yeah.
think the seals or anything else really.
Yeah. Well, now I think nowadays it's like they even kind of mentioned. I think they've started to acquire a taste for human, actually.
Right.
Weird.
I do like in this scene that where the shark fin is coming towards various people. We don't get the music, which is the big giveaway as to that the
Yeah.
whole thing is
Very
is
true.
a fake sequence. We don't get the John Williams music.
Yeah, because
We
the
only
shark
get
is
the
actually.
we only get Bruce only shows up if the music's playing.
But the shark is actually these two kids playing a joke, and I like this shot right here of the National Guardman ready to gun this poor boy down.
He made me do it.
And of course, it's the ginger Coast Guard.
Hey.
He's just like over here. He's like, I'm soulless. I'm just gonna shoot
yeah.
these kids.
Damn right. 'Cause he has
That's
no
his
soul.
deleted
He's
scene.
like, I don't want to be
probably.
out in the sun anymore. I don't have. There's not enough sunscreen in the world for me.
Yep. So everyone comes back in because obviously now the mood is over. But this woman sees a shark. You really can't see it, but there's a fin there, I promise. And she's like, "Oh, the shark's in the pond or something." But
And she can hear the music as well, so she knows it's the
Yes,
real
she
one.
can. She feels the music.
Apparently, sharks have only an acute sense for low frequencies. So
Yeah, as I say, loads of things have changed over the last 50 years.
I don't think we know anything about sharks. Let's be serious.
Well, probably not. I mean, Peter Benchley himself made a massive big deal of being a bit of a conservationist for sharks because he said he'd done reputational damage to sharks with this
He felt
movie.
very guilty about it
Yeah.
because it encouraged people to kill sharks.
Indeed.
yeah,
Took that
there was
$10
a
million paycheck. Though.
There was
Cash
literally
check,
sharks holding press conferences like this is not representative of us.
Absolutely. This is not us. Unbelievable.
Bruce was acting on his own accord. We didn't actually. He was not contracted by
He was just
anybody
a
in the shark
loner.
union.
He's a weird guy. Just on the
We even
ground.
told him that we don't go up there this time of year. I don't know. We don't even know why he was there.
Well, he always paid his rent on time. But,
Very
Surprisingly, with heads of dead people, it was very strange.
So
I do really like the girl that points out the shark, and I do like the whole delivery of shark.
well, do you guys obviously know her backstory and everything?
I can't remember hers. No, go.
Oh, well, never mind that. I don't want to bore you guys with it, but it's pretty substantial. But moving on.
He
though,
was trying to bait you into telling a story about this.
Yeah, I was.
I've got 99% of the other people, but not her. Damn it.
Well, she was actually in the running to also be naked in that scene.
Oh,
right,
yeah. Okay.
What? No, it's probably her. She's wearing a bandana,
Yeah.
and we see her from behind.
Well, that was all she was supposed to be wearing in the scene. The original script called for her to also be naked.
It was all going to be shot at Spielberg's house.
Yeah, this is also his backyard. So the shark is going. What is this, like a pond or something of the?
It's
So this would be honestly, it's probably a misnomer. This is actually probably the bay side, is what it is.
Yeah.
It's a lagoon.
That
they call
oh
it
my
pond.
god, that shot is terrifying.
Yeah, it's scary. Yeah.
God.
Yeah, if it was an actual pond or lake, there's zero way that this shark would have got in there.
Right. No, it's just a nickname for the little.
It's
It's probably that's not the open water. That's the bed. So that's like the
It's the
enclosed
bay,
side.
yeah.
Yeah. So this guy obviously gets it. His arm gets bitten off.
God,
and
there we go.
everything,
There
too,
it is.
and,
There's a
yeah,
lid.
there we just see little glimpses of the fin and everything, and yeah, there it is again.
Yeah.
As Brody runs down there to get his son out of the water. So then we cut to the what was it called? I'm sorry, the hospital, where the mayor is just in shambles. Like, oh, I was just doing what for the town, the priorities of the people. And he's like, we're going to sign this paperwork. You're going to authorize that Quint is going to get paid, and he's going to go out there and kill the shark, and you're going to be the hero of the town, apparently.
And the mayor has snapped at this point. He's not even making sense. He's just in shock at what he did. Which
And
is
he does acknowledge the fact that he just say my kids were on that beach
on the beach too.
I love that line of it.
Yeah.
Just
favorite
realize
thing-
it could have gone bad really quickly.
My favorite thing is that the restrictions in hospitals were just smoking everywhere in the hospital. Right next to the air tank, the oxygen tanks. They don't care. They don't go.
No doctor recommends Marlboro Lights.
Well, I can't think of a better place to smoke than the hospital.
Well,
I mean,
yeah,
you
exactly.
could just fall down right there.
Just like 50 years ago, we didn't know anything about sharks. We don't know anything about smoking either.
Oh, they knew.
They were just like,
they knew.
What do you mean?
They
We're just getting that
knew.
money in. Who's beating off in the background?
It's
Sorry.
probably- who knows?
I'll tell you one thing. I love when the B-sides crew gets here. It turns into a much different stream with you guys. That's why I try to keep you all together as best I can.
A lot of drinking and smoking and masturbation going on. So
No, I dropped a crumb in my lap and my keyboard.
She dropped a crumb in her
Oh my god.
keyboard. That's what we're calling it nowadays. It's her keyboard.
What a beautiful addition to the stream.
That's just me playing with my space bar. That's all that is. It's just my space bar, and that's what I'm sticking to it.
So then we cut to Quint's, I guess, Shark Shack. And
the Shark Shack.
It's Shark Shack.
It's his trophy
Little old
room.
place.
It's trophy room.
I can't tell. Is Hooper, I guess,
He's like impressed.
Is
He's
this like a
impressed.
scene out of Ace Ventura 2 where is he impressed or is he freaking out? Like, wow,
No, he's impressed.
I
Oh,
think
he's
like
impressed.
a kid in a toy
He's loving
store.
this
Yeah.
shit. Yeah. I think
He's
loving
not
it.
so he's not anti-kill shark. He's just like, hey, let's get research done. He's not he's been number one person saying like we need to go take care of this up to this point. So
I mean, you can imagine. I mean, while he is clearly a rich kid, you can imagine he's probably spent a lot of time in basically doing theory rather than practical. And this is just
Right.
like hog's heaven to him, isn't it? He's got the real deal right here, an authentic
Yeah.
shark fisherman who he can nail for terrible information. If only the guy was nice.
Yeah, they do not. They do not
Only
get
he
on
was sane.
they get up on the wrong foot instantly with this.
Yeah.
One thing, so I really wish they would have added a line about how, and maybe it's in the book, because he clearly has hunted a bunch of sharks, all different species, different sizes. But I really wish that it would have been, one of his motivations would have been to get a great white, not just, money, and not just like, obviously later on you find out that he has like a real hatred for sharks.
He seems to spot it and know what it is immediately. So he does kind of, it makes you think that he has had experience of seeing them before, but probably nothing like this. But
No, not even close.
Well, this doesn't really tie up until he tells the Indianapolis story.
no, right.
Yeah.
That's true.
Speaking of tying up, Quint gives Hooper some rope and says, like, "Oh, can you tie this knot?" And
Nice segue.
I know, right?
That was really good. I'll tell you one thing. Joe has improved dramatically in a short period of time. I want everybody to know that.
Thank you,
The
Watch
first
Eye.
time he did one of these streams, I was like, I had to tell him, like, backstage,
ran.
breathe, slow down.
We blew through Way of the Dragon like half an hour.
I do like the fact that they all try his home brew, his delicious, and they all have a very similar reaction to it.
Yeah.
I know.
It's those little touches though that you think that's only come about because of how many times that they had to wait around for the shark to work. That's this all of these scenes feel like they've been worked and worked and worked by the actors.
I don't think that was. I'm legitimately of the belief that that was real moonshine that he smuggled onto the set that he made himself. Because I don't think this scene was scripted at all. If go ahead.
I don't know if it is this scene or if it's a different scene, but at one point, this was Robert Shaw like whispered before the take, "I wish I could quit drinking," and he's got the drink in his hand, and so Richard Dreyfuss just takes it and throws it in the ocean, and that was like,
you don't.
After that, it was After that,
Party
Robert
foul,
Shaw,
punch him in the face.
Yeah, after that, Robert Shaw was like, "I'm having none of you, and I'm gonna fuck with you."
That's as bad as taking a
I'm
cigarette.
I'm gonna down one for him right now. Little reposado for.
Wow, that's so weird. I took that as such a wow. That's such a nice, a really nice thing he did. And everyone else like, no, it's the worst thing in the world you could have done to him.
Yeah.
Dreyfuss also had a really rough time on American Graffiti only 2 years earlier. All the cast kind of hated him on that as well. He got thrown in the pool, I think, by either Harrison Ford or one of the others, but because he just came across as slightly annoying and full of himself. And
because
you do get the feeling that he is slightly annoying and full of himself. So, I think the dynamic, the hatred between these guys, I think that really works in this film. That people that like each other.
I mean, there's the reason why it almost feels like a completely different movie once they get on the boat.
Yeah, without a doubt.
One thing I did want to touch on quick before we moved on, when he makes him do the knot, my favorite thing is he tells him, I don't know what the knot. I know that there's like dozens of different kinds of knots that that people
it's a sheep's hook.
Yeah, like nautical people know all these knots for different purposes. And he does it like right away, throws it back to Quint, and Quint doesn't even look at it to see if it's the right one.
No, he just looks, he just glances and he throws it away.
He doesn't even look at it at all. He doesn't even glance at it. He literally throws it away without looking at all.
You either get the impression that he knows immediately that it's correct and he doesn't care, or he's not.
Or
he's not even going to bother to look because he just wants to dismiss him. Either way, it's funny.
Well, Quint has a lot of really subtle moments later on that I definitely want to bring up as they're happening, but I realized some of it last night. Even my wife that's watched this movie 1,000 times, she didn't even realize it until I brought it up, though. So Quint has a lot of these little moments like that. If you blink, you would have missed it.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah,
it's mostly one-liners or physical things that he does that you don't really notice.
The guy who's basing it on chewed tobacco, and he did try to chew tobacco initially, but he puked really hard as soon as he's tried it.
Yeah,
so
that's not something you could take up.
No, exactly. So he decided, right, I'm just going to eat crackers. So he eats crackers quite a few times in the movie. That's just something to do with your hands and something you can just
I've never heard that.
Yeah,
interesting. I like that. Yep. So they're boarding the shark. I don't know why Brody's wife is dressed in her funeral stuff.
Oh, well, there was another funeral for that other dude.
Yes.
Oh, well,
She just came
people
from
went,
that.
people went to that
left,
one.
right, and center now.
Well,
People went to that one, but not the Alex Kittner one.
Can you imagine, like, the local funeral home has never had business like this? They're like, when they're close on the beaches, the funeral home director is like petitioning for them to open it back up.
People
It's
are
like,
dying
please.
to get in.
It's like
I'll be a millionaire by August.
Cha-ching!
that scene out of Breaking Bad where they're laying on the piles of money.
Yeah.
yeah, Rachel in the chat.
I more think of the scene from Scarface, the Push It to the Limit scene, where they're walking in with bags full of cash, and the banker can't figure out why.
Yes,
Yeah.
the ladies
Another
are
shark
very
attack.
funny at the moment.
From a wardrobe and art direction point of view, it makes great sense because as far as she knows, she is going to his funeral right now.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, they don't know what they're up against. They know, and she's scared of him. The Quint, she's scared of Quint. So
We're all scared of Quint.
we're all
We're
scared of
scared
Quint.
of Quint.
I am not scared of Quint. Quint is my hero. He's up there with Tyler Durden as people I want to grow up to be.
Okay, fine.
So you guys mentioned that it was filmed at different times. So is this shot here, like not during wintertime or something? Because look how pink everything is.
So they did a technique where they would film a lot at sunrise and sunset, so that way they could use, I forget what it's
golden
called, the
hour.
actual term.
It's the golden hour, isn't
Golden hour.
Yeah, but they did it so that way you never truly know. It could be used as either morning or night shots.
Mm-hmm.
I forget that. Let me look up the term exactly what it's called, but you can go on.
All right. So they start going on their boat, and Brody's chumming the waters with it, and we have this scene here where what's it
It's
called?
maybe-
The gate. I'm sorry.
No, I was going to say this is perhaps the only line in the film I just don't like. It's a bit on the nose. Hey, that's compressed air. Don't get near that; it will blow up.
It's like reading the Captain Underpants book where it says, "Remember that for later."
That's the
exactly
only
what-
line I think there was a more subtle way in which they could have introduced that. But
No,
fine,
these
whatever.
gas cans are the star of the movie. They subtly show them for the rest of the movie.
Mm-hmm.
Careful, those could blow up real easy.
Especially if they were
Don't
penetrated by
shoot
a
it.
bullet or something.
So Brody's trying to fit in. He's trying to do the knots and everything. And
I've also coated it in guts and chum just in case it falls in the water.
Chum for men.
They all
So
smell
as-
like Old Spice, you know that.
I
The
love
movie-
this sequence. I love this.
The
Where-
subtlety of how he does it
Yes,
is fantastic.
how
Like, he doesn't
Brody's
warn
still
anybody.
doing the knots, and he just gets
Quint
strapped. Doesn't
straps
say anything
in
at all.
like he's going to have the battle of his life, and he is unprepared for this.
I
He's
mean,
like-
yeah, he is. This is his Super Bowl right here.
This is how I assume he never mind. I was going to say something about it.
Now, does anyone actually fish on the channel right now?
No, I
Anyone-
find it incredibly boring.
I have done it before, but
But-
not for a long time.
Can
Only
you
an
reel in a
operation.
stink?
I
Real-
fished rivers and lakes, but I've never done deep sea ocean fishing.
No, never on the ocean.
I'm just saying. Even maybe the chat could chime in too, though. But is it possible that he could actually bring in this shark with this?
No.
No.
Okay.
Not a great.
He tries every technique. I mean, I don't even fish, and I can tell you, he tries every technique that, because I looked it up. What, pouring the water on there is because it's unspooling so fast. It could
Yeah.
catch fire. He's doing
Catch fire and set those canisters blow up.
Yeah.
What do you
He's
mean?
doing I forget what the
What?
technique is, but basically what he's doing is he's dropping the rod forward so he can reel in, pull it back, and then do it again. It's basically to give
tire it out.
slack.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just feel like the shark would have just ripped him right out of the
Yeah.
chair.
Well,
with
I
the
mean,
entire
he's
chair.
pretty strapped into that chair. So.
That's what I'm saying. The chair's coming too.
Well, no. What would have ended up happening is it would have just pulled the rod out because that's not attached fully. That's not like latched to.
If you really had a 25-foot shark on the line, that the line would never hold. The
It would
physics
snap.
of
It would
are
snap.
impossible.
Yeah.
Yeah. No matter how strong you were, the line.
Like, I had a friend of mine who went marlin fishing down in the Keys, and his rod was bigger than that to bring in.
Oh,
a
tell us about his
marlin.
big rod.
Oh,
Ooh.
no, there you go.
Slowly to begin with, and then sort
Yeah.
of build up towards the end
Yeah.
if you can.
Adam, if it's okay with you, I'd like to hear more about this big rod that she's encountered in the past.
She's not talking about my rod.
No, I'm talking. No, this is a friend long before she met you.
His
clear.
fishing.
This was during her college
rod,
days. She was a little wilder back then.
His fishing rod was bigger than that, and the line was way heavier than the line that he's using. But yeah, because there's no way that you could bring in a great white on this.
Well, like if you're doing,
I don't even think like a juvenile that would be like maybe a 14-foot.
Yeah,
no, you're just not physically strong enough to do it.
Yeah, if you would have to be using like 1/8 inch steel cable. Like if you're doing rigging, standard cable is 1/16 of an inch, and it's only rated up to a couple thousand pounds. A 25-foot shark twisting on the end of it, forget it.
Yeah, but it is a tired shark. It's eaten well for a few days.
He's sleepy.
But also, be in mind that Quint wanted to do this by himself too. So
yeah,
imagine
there's an ego here. There's an ego, isn't there, as well?
Yeah, like this movie would have
Very
been
much.
really quickly over if he did this by himself.
Right. True.
Well, it's Quint's revenge for what he's going to talk about later. It's not as much hubris, I don't think, as he really hates sharks.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, he watched literally all of his friends and fellow seamen die.
This is a good shot, by the way, to talk about the boat very briefly. The original boat is called Warlock. Nobody cares about that, but they repainted the whole thing because it was originally a white boat, and they all thought that Quint's character was far too dark. He would never go out in a beautiful pearl white boat, so they painted it black and sort of burgundy and these kind of darker colors. The whole boat is wrong. According to most fishermen, the prow at the front is far too long. The crow's nest is far too high. The only reason those things exist is really because they could get great shots of the actors, but also they could also put the camera crew on them as well and point the cameras back up towards the boat or from the top looking down. The windows on the side, they're too big. Boats that are going out that far, generally speaking, don't have windows like that because a big wave would just basically take those out in about 2 minutes. So the whole thing is a little bit off, but they put a lot of detail in it. There's almost no personality of Quint on this. It is all really functional. Nothing is there apart from maybe the shark teeth on the front of the boat. There is almost nothing of a man's personality on this thing. It is just very functional.
Yeah.
They weathered the crap out of it, and some poor bastard had to put seagull shit all over it, or fake seagull shit all over it to make it look as though it'd been out for weeks.
No, I kind of wish it was real seagull shit that he had to harvest the stuff.
Yeah,
He's under it with just
some
a
poor prop
giant
guy in Hollywood. Just get us three pints of seagull shit, please.
So I just looked it up. It's called day for night filming. Basically, they film at a specific time of day that it illuminates the area, but they can color correct it so that way it looks like it's night. So they use that technique a lot in this movie.
Oh, that's smart. Yep. So the shark it doesn't get away, right? Like it's not like the line.
No, it swims under the boat.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but where is it though? Is it still attached to it?
Yes. Yeah, it's
He's
just
got
kind
it.
of chilling.
The shark isn't fighting yet. It hasn't even begun to fight yet.
Okay, because I never understood why the shark just stopped.
Quint even says it. He says that it's very smart. Like at first he's like, it's either smart or dumb. I can't tell. And then he immediately is like, no, it's smart.
And
so
that's
essentially
the scariest part of this movie to me is that the shark seems to have intent and intelligence.
Mm-hmm.
That's terrifying.
That is.
Yeah, he's fucking with them. He's toying with them to give them a false sense of security. And Quint figures it out very quickly.
Best shot in the movie right here.
Yep, right here. One of those iconic
Still
shots
looks
and
amazing.
one of the most ad-libbed lines of all time too.
Yeah,
I think Amelia Bedelia meant Quint is channeling his inner Captain Ahab.
No, I like it.
No, but I prefer Captain Arab.
Captain Arab.
Don't change that, really. That's fine.
He straps one of those canisters on him and jumps in.
He's doing it for the virgins.
Yeah, the way that Brody backs up into the cabin like he's just seen the most horrifying thing in his life.
Because he has.
I mean, you could literally walk into the mouth of Jaws. Like you could, they've up to this point what is it? Hooper has said like the mouth is probably this big, and he held up his arms, and it was like clearly big enough to like bite your head off. But like as soon as he sees this, it's very obvious that this thing is bigger than they expected. Its mouth is bigger. It could take your whole body in one bite.
It's like we are not prepared for this at all.
Yeah.
Again, another reason why you should just brought like 1,000 sticks of dynamite. Problem would have been solved.
He even had the dynamite he took from that guy earlier in the movie.
Yeah, how come that didn't play in later on?
Imagine if in the chum there was dynamite. There you go. Just
See?
hand grenades and chum. There we go.
See, we could have done it so much better.
Just dip
So,
hand grenades in blood and put really long timers on them. Done.
See, now I want to go shark fishing now. Well, before that,
That's an impressive shot too. I mean, that's
yes,
you know,
but how did they
with
get
limited-
these shots though? Like, is this actually in Spielberg's backyard and everything? Or?
Yeah.
No, I
His
think some of
pool.
that. I think that might actually be on the ocean. Some of them are
That
on the
is,
ocean.
yeah. There
I
is
was
a
joking.
lot of filming on the ocean. I think
How did
most
they
of
get the
it's
shark though?
Well,
they
that's the animatronic. So
It's
it
not a real
broke
shark.
early.
No,
It
I get
broke-
that though, but how did they
They're
have it?
just towing a dummy shark across
Yeah.
the
The towing-
shot.
Yeah.
There's
Oh, okay.
occasions where they're using a dummy shark and they're towing it. There's other ones where they're on a rig where it's basically attached to the ocean floor, and it moves about maybe 12, 15 feet across, and it only needs to move that far to get the shot. So there's a few different ways in which they were trying to get this thing, all of which work to some degree, but not brilliantly.
Yeah, the animatronic basically just became a really expensive dummy after a few days of shooting because they realized it didn't work right. So they just turned it into a really overpriced mannequin.
But I mean, to its credit, I mean that the fact that the shot didn't work, it really benefits the film.
Yes.
I mean, it didn't benefit these three actors because all of them had other gigs that they wanted to get to. They were going to be doing theatre or another movie. In the case of Dreyfus, he was going to move on to another movie. But they all had to wait around for ages, and they were still under contract to finish this one. So they lost work because of it. But look at the end result. I mean, it is a classic.
Yeah, absolutely. I always like here when Quint answers the radio, and he kind of does like the Han Solo thing. Like,
Yeah, it is a Han Solo bit.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we're catching
okay.
some fish. We're scaling them up. We'll bring them back for dinner. Bye.
We're all fine here. How are you?
Yeah,
At least he takes the time to answer.
that's important. Yes. Well, this is probably one of my favorite scenes of the movie where he wants Hooper wants Brody to get out there so he can get some scared.
Scale my ass.
Go to the end.
Nope.
Nope. You go to the end.
Yeah, I'll be over here.
So the plan here is they're gonna shoot the shark with some kind of harpoons, and then these barrels are gonna get, I guess, drag the shark and tire it out and everything like that.
Yeah.
Bring it close to the.
I do know that this is pretty accurate. This is a lot of times that do this stuff. I don't know much about shark fishing, but I do know that you do need to tether it to the ground. Not the ground. The surface, the ocean surface somehow.
Yeah, it's a very smart idea, and obviously there's people that have how strong the shark must be to take this barrel, drag it around, and go underneath the water too, because obviously this thing is massively strong if he can continuously swim holding this barrel underneath the water.
He's already proven that earlier in the movie. He dragged the entire dock around with him, turned around, dragged it the other way. And Quint actually sets up for this earlier in a very subtle line where he mentions that he took out I forget what kind of shark he said, but he says, can you believe it took 2 barrels? So they set up for it that, it would have cost, I read a thing. It would have, 2 barrels is considered insane.
Huge.
Yeah.
But I went back to this clip here though, because Hooper, before he ties the barrel on, he goes and gets some kind of like shark tracker and attaches to the barrel.
Yeah.
So does that actually play in later on? I know we see blinking, but does he get an alert that says the shark's outside?
I know that we get. Well, it's great for the audience for 2 reasons. I mean, the fact that it's a lovely bit of work from Spielberg here, because of course the shark was a pain in the ass to keep showing, but barrels are a lot easier to drag around and push under the water, and it's great for the audience. The audience knows the shark is still there, and without even seeing the shark, we're just seeing the barrels, and we're still scared that the barrels are now on shot.
I think the tracker is more a setup for him to try and poison the shark later in the cage. So it's kind of
Right,
establishing
yeah,
that.
okay.
Yeah.
I was going to say that it also adds to the night shots because you get that little blink. I think you get a blinking light on it, if I'm not mistaken, as well.
Yes.
Yes,
So you
get
get
that later on. Yes,
you can see it at night as well, which is another nice little Spielberg trick there to keep you excited, keep the audience on the on the edge of the seat as they can see the little blinking light. You know it's still there even if you can't see it.
absolutely. Can you go to part 3, please?
Oh yes, of course.
Thank you.
That is this one.
Now the problem with part 3 of this is that we're just gonna kind of blow through this part because there's so many scenes in this that is just them fighting the shark. But before that, we get probably one of the most iconic scenes of the entire movie as Quint and Hooper are sharing their stories of different shark attacks and heartbreaks and stuff like that. And
This has some of the best lines in the movie, doesn't it? All of
well,
them.
absolutely. I could sadly not get this clip at all because I had to keep editing and stuff like that, and it pretty much lost all the scope of it. So would one of you guys like to take on the Indianapolis speech? Of what happens here?
I'm out.
Okay, I'll try my best to
Thank you,
remember
because-
exactly how he says it. Because it's honestly, this might be the greatest speech in the history of movies. Like it's up there.
Well,
Not win an
it's
Oscar for this.
it's the emotional center of this film.
Yeah.
And
and it
important thing-
really is. You're absolutely right. That's exactly the phrase because it's the
Yeah,
three
and
characters with very different personalities all in the room together.
and Shaw is absolutely wasted. And I
Yes,
guess
and
Barbara
Oh, go
was
ahead.
telling me that he rewrote the script. He asked Spielberg, and he rewrote this monologue. And the first time he showed up to do it, he was so wasted he couldn't film.
Mhm.
And then he came back the next day less wasted. And
Well,
gave
that's
the
good.
Performance of a lifetime.
Yeah.
He showed up 80%.
Yes,
It was-
there's at least 3 or 4 people that are taking credit for this speech. Of course, Robert Shaw being one of them, John Milius being another.
John
Gottlieb.
Milius and Robert Shaw and Gottlieb.
Cal Gottlieb, yeah.
But from what I understand, Shaw read the speech, and Shaw was already a novelist by this time. He had already written like several books, so he knew his way around, a vocabulary and words and what makes things effective.
Yeah.
So he just asked Spielberg, can I tweak this a little bit for me? And Spielberg was like, yeah, all right. If it doesn't work, we shoot it the other way.
So I'm sorry.
So and then he brings it back. Spielberg likes it, and they decide to film it. And he is so drunk that they cannot film anything. It's the day is shot. They can't do anything. And Robert Shaw calls Spielberg like the next day and apologizes. He's like, I hope I didn't embarrass you.
So
Yeah.
I have the script here. I'll do the best I can. I no matter how I could do this perfect, and it won't be even close to what he did.
Wait, can you read it as Batman, please?
You want me to read this Batman?
Can you read it as Price of Reason?
I'll read it. I can do Batman. I can't. I mean, if you don't want me to do like,
Wait, can I just say what I was going to say? Some
Price of Reason's got those eyes like a doll's eyes. That
Japanese submarine slammed 2 torpedoes into our side, Chief. I'll do it as Batman. Japanese submarine slammed 2 torpedoes into our side, Commissioner. We was coming back from the island of Tinian and Letty. I'm sorry, just delivered the bomb. The Hiroshima. It's fucking hilarious. The Hiroshima bomb. 1,100 men went into the water. Vessel went down 12 minutes. I'm slowly slipping into Quint. Didn't see the first shark for about a half an hour. Tiger 13-footer. You know how you know when you're in the water, Chief? This is a hard speech to read. No wonder he had so much trouble. I'm doing this fucking stone cold sober. You can tell by looking at the dorsal tail. What we didn't know was our bomb mission was so secret, no distress signal had been sent. They didn't even lift the overdue for a week. Very first light, Chief, shark come cruising. So we formed ourselves into tight groups. It was kind of like old squares in a battle. like on a calendar, like the Battle of Waterloo. The idea the sharks come nearest man, the man start pounding, hollering and screaming. Sometimes the shark go away. It's hard to do this as Batman. Sometimes he wouldn't go away. Sometimes the shark looks right into you, right into your eyes. You know it. The thing about a shark, he's got lifeless eyes, black eyes, like a doll's eyes. When he comes at you, doesn't seem living until he bites you. I can't do this one with the Batman until he bites you, and those black eyes rolled over white, and then
That got really Irish really fast.
Yeah, well, he is doing an Irish accent. and then you hear a terrible high pitched screaming. The ocean turns red in spite of all the pounding and the hollering. They all come in and rip you to pieces. That's basically the gist of the speech.
Yeah.
That was hard to do as Batman. Honestly, it's you know what it is. It's not in like logical English. It's in drunken sailor English. So as you're saying it, it's hard to, you know.
It is a great speech, and it feels to me very, very much like John Milius, because he writes in a very muscular, sort of very manly way, doesn't he? So it always strikes me that it is about 80% John Milius and then tweaked by Robert Shaw. I don't know how much Carl Gottlieb had to do with it.
I love the end line of it. It's like, well, anyway, we delivered the bomb.
Yeah.
You know,
very matter of fact, isn't it? Very matter of fact. It gets back on track
from the like graveliness, but yeah, the next part is essentially how many men they lost, and then the last line is anyway we delivered the bomb. Yeah,
but I like the setup before where they're all just showing off the tattoos, and he pulls up his shirt and goes, "Marianne Moffat, she broke my heart."
And it's so realistic.
It
like
is. That's
these
just
two
guys
guys
being
hate
guys,
each
isn't it?
other. They're just drinking and loosening up a little bit, and then Brody asks the wrong question.
Well,
it was the way he reacts to the question as well. He's still, Dreyfus is still laughing as he starts the speech, and then he realizes what he's saying, and it's like, oh god, whoa,
yeah,
right.
It's got dark fast.
His face there.
Yeah,
yes.
I will just for a little bit of trivia. I will tell you that all the sharks that attacked the sailors from the Indianapolis were most likely oceanic white tips. So there you go.
And they were all called Jeff. It's a weird coincidence.
Steve, what are you doing here?
You weren't invited to this party.
I think they made a movie about this that wasn't that good at all, but like that's a banger of an idea. Just a bunch of guys in the ocean fighting sharks.
They've made quite a few of
movie.
Whatever version I saw, I really didn't like it that much.
Me either. I've never found a good one.
Yeah. It just feels like such a simple idea. But yes, as they're doing this, the shark is banging against the hull of the ship, trying to get in. And this part, but I'm saying like really subtle things here. At this point, Brody goes to go on the radio, and then this something falls down, sets on fire.
Put out that fire, will you, Brody?
Yeah, so like he just
pass me the hydro spanner. Sorry, film. Oh, yeah.
So he's pretty much just stopping Brody from calling it a distress sequence. Call, it seems, because I think he just wants to take.
I know you're certifiable, but
yeah.
Yes. So the next day they're they're fixing the boat. And here comes the barrel. Again, this barrel's been underwater for hours.
Yeah, now the barrel's a character, like I said before. It's just
exactly the unsung heroes here. Yeah, they're like, hey, let's just bring the barrel in, but oh no, the shark comes out.
There he is. Price of reason eyes looking right at you.
I like this picture.
Look at that.
This is the shark going, something touched me.
I look fabulous, right?
I've stepped on the Lego.
If I recall correctly, this is the exact moment that they based the ride on. Is this exact moment?
Yeah, I guess.
Yeah. I actually have a great picture of my dad on the Universal Studios that I managed to click right as the shark was coming up out of the water toward my dad's head.
Nice.
I did actually manage to go on the Jaws ride just before I think about 2 years before they closed it completely, and I sat in completely the wrong chair, the one that gets absolutely drenched.
Oh no.
That just makes it better.
That's
While you're
what I
there.
said. That's what I said. I was like, I don't care. I had the full experience.
Yes. So at this point, Brody's like, we got to call this in. Like, we can't fight this thing. This thing is massive.
Right.
But Quinn, responds with a baseball bat and just takes out the radio. He's like, "Oh, sorry, Chief."
Yeah, he's seen his white whale. He's
Yep.
convinced he's going to take it on.
Mhm.
He's Captain Arab in this thing. So.
Captain Arab in this thing. He absolutely is.
Arab.
So now the idea is, of course, let's just shoot another barrel at it. There's no way
Yeah.
he can take 2 barrels.
Right.
But yeah, these at this so they shoot another barrel at him. Brody starts unloading on this thing. It just
Ting,
nothing happens.
Yeah, you need a bigger gun. You're gonna need a bigger gun.
He's gonna need a bigger everything for this at this point. So so now we're up to the barrels aren't working, and like a lot of the problem is a lot of these scenes here though, it's a lot of waiting. It's just the tension is just so building. So obviously the screenshots don't really cover it though, but they decide, don't they just say, okay, we're gonna try to drag this thing in now?
Yes.
Quint
Quint thinks he's going to tow it to shore. That's his only answer because he's done everything he knows how to do at this point, and now the shark is just going to be tearing that boat apart.
I just don't think they can pull the. Look at the water here. This thing is. It's
the engine. They burn out the engine trying.
Yes, yes, they do. The engine's on fire at this point. Yep. So the shark is just.
It's basically the best way to put it is, and there's a lot of movies that do this pretty well, where no matter how logical you are, you can only work within the parameters that you're known. Predator is a great example of this. They do this in Predator as well, where you operate within what you're aware of works, but you're unaware that it doesn't work on this particular target.
Yeah.
And
yes,
they've now hit the point where it's like, well, fuck. That's essentially what it is.
That's a great shot, by the way, isn't it? I think because Quint's just whistling, isn't he? At this point, he's just on one.
Yeah.
He's not listening to any reason at this point.
Yeah.
How far away are they from the shore?
Pretty far.
Yeah,
they were going.
I wouldn't fancy swimming it.
They're miles out. There's one shot in the editing where you can see a little bit of land in the background, which is obviously a mistake, but they're miles out.
Yeah. Even if they're a few, even if they're still pretty scary at this point.
Yeah, even if you can still see land, they have to be at a minimum 10 miles out.
Yeah.
Which is a big distance on the open water.
Yeah, like on the Jersey Shore, you can see New York, and that's still far away.
Well, it depends. It depends on what town in New Jersey. But I get what you mean.
Yeah, yeah.
Like if you're in Perth Amboy, like you could throw a baseball to Staten Island. It's not a big distance. But...
yeah, that's true. Yep. So the engine's giving out. As you can see, the ship's starting the ship's starting to go underwater. So they decide, let's just poison the shark. I don't really like this idea. I don't know why. I find this to be such a silly idea.
Well, I mean, they were out of bat shark repellent, so
that's what they should have packed for more. It's the summertime. Yes,
I mean, they're in fight for life mode right now, and anything they can try.
It'd be great if they had a radio.
Why does Brody almost look shirtless in that scene?
He is shirtless in this. He's lugging around this cage and building this thing. Oh yeah, wait, that's so weird. He's wearing no shirt, and then the next scene he's wearing a shirt.
No, wait, go back.
No, he probably has a shirt on. It's just the way that
his hand is above. It's Hooper's hand coming in above his head, and his shirt.
Yeah, you're right. Okay, it makes it look
Okay,
looks a bit weird.
Yeah. So the plan is that Hooper's going to go in the cage. The cage is going to go in the water.
Sharks in the water.
And then they're going to poison the shark with the. But obviously, from this clip, right? I'm sorry, you're saying.
But leave it to Butterfingers Dreyfus here because he already dropped the shark's tooth,
He did do that, yeah. Right.
What's going to happen now?
That is a great point. And,
Was
you know,
that
don't worry, I
foreshadowing
glued it
as
to
well?
my
Maybe
hand.
it was. The man could not catch.
Yeah.
So actually, it's funny. We never even really mentioned that. This movie would be completely different if he didn't drop that shark's tooth.
Yes.
If he had
Yes.
held on to it, it would have changed the movie completely.
Yeah.
Yes, wow.
If we cut to a flashback of him at a baseball game catching the pitch, you know, it's like,
Yeah.
woo, one-handed, yeah. And then we now see this scene.
So we got a clip here of how this goes. So we have no sounds. Make sure you unmute yourselves.
Aha.
Yep,
He's
taking
like,
off
yes.
the cork. You know that, but there comes the shark.
Ah!
I mean, like,
And
I
drops.
don't think we can't understand the immense size of this shark until this scene. Like, we've seen it big, but like this is really when we get the
Yeah, I'm gonna let him off.
understanding.
I am going to let him off on that one. That was looked like it was quite a brutal push.
Yeah, and some of these Barbara brought up last night. Some of the clips that are edited in are actual footage of a shark bumping a cage. I can't remember the names of that Australian couple that.
That's
that
right.
were-
Ron and Valerie Taylor.
Yeah,
who
the
are
original
world famous.
original shark
Yeah.
researchers.
Yeah, they've done a
Yeah.
lot of footage already, haven't they? They've done a lot of footage of sharks already, and had some great white stuff. But they were filmed. They got some brilliant shots.
Wait, that's real. That's not just Richard Dreyfuss in a cage with a animatronic
Well,
shark.
that part,
Both.
yes, that part is. But when you move forward just a little bit, you
There's a
will
bit-
start to see actual real sharks.
Yeah, because you see a shot of the shark just attacking the empty cage a little later, and that's real footage. That's actual real.
That's
footage.
real footage.
Oh, okay.
I'm not shocked that it's Australians, by the way.
Of course not.
That's
They're
true.
crazy.
Australians are just like, everything's trying to kill us anyway. Let's just have fun
Right.
with it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They were the people that sort of invented the chainmail shark-proof suits.
Yeah. Yeah.
Really?
Mhm.
Mhm.
That's pretty cool. So yeah, the boat's done here at this point. It's sinking, pieces are falling off. They try to reel the cage in there. The cage is just destroyed though. And then the shark comes back, and then we get this final fight here again. No sound on this.
Yeah, I like how you didn't bother to take out movieclips.com. Subscribe to them, by the way, right there.
Uh-huh.
Oh, the canister got him.
Oh no!
Oh no!
Remember
This-
the canister
so,
thing.
like,
Remember the thing about the canister I said earlier. Bye.
The Robert Shaw does such a great job of showing the fear here. It's like, because you know, obviously he's aware that it's not going to actually kill him. Well, maybe this
I
is a
don't
Steven
know.
Spielberg film. It's not. If this was a James Cameron film, he actually would have died in this scene.
Yeah.
What was he stabbing the
Oh
shark?
no,
with?
he would
He
have
had
been. He would have been an
It's
android. in this
machete
scene.
from earlier.
I think
Okay, I
he
didn't know if it was like a piece of the ship or something.
Yeah.
No, you
Oh
would-
no, his machete's right there.
No, it was an android
mind.
in this scene, wouldn't you? And it would all
Oh,
been like
okay.
milk coming out of his mouth. That's what would have happened in a camera movie. The shark here, I mean, it's about as rubbery as it's ever going to look in this
Mhm.
film.
Yeah.
It doesn't look great, but that scene still works because of Robert
Still
Shaw's performance.
terrifying.
Yeah.
He
Oh,
really sells it,
absolutely.
even though it's the rubber shark
Absolutely
attacking him. It's pretty good. It's just good enough. Just
So-
good enough.
So the shark is just taking apart this boat.
I mean, it's not like he had to try that hard. He basically
no, we
just
did. He just had to
fell
sit on
apart.
it. Yeah. So Brody grabs a rifle and decides to make his way up. What is it called? The crow's nest or something like that?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay. Just says, "I'm screwed. We're gonna go up here." And just
Well,
try
I
to
mean, it's
fight
really
this-
the only spot that's left.
Yeah. There's
Not many
nothing.
options at this point.
At this point, all is completely lost. Captain Quinn's dead. Hooper's apparently dead too. He's
Yep,
stabbing
Captain
at it.
Arab is now gone.
But then, just like that scene in Lord of the Rings, where it's like the third day, look to the east at dawn, the gas canister is here.
Sunlight glints off the canister.
You know, it's perfectly there. As what does he say? Smile, you son of
Smile,
a
you
bitch.
son of a bitch.
And just American and blow the hell out of this.
Yeah, that's
thing.
what you want.
We're
as
gonna
an
go
ending.
full America.
Yeah.
Because that's quite different from the book. The book, I think, they shoot it and it dies.
Yeah.
So anticlimactic.
But here we go.
One of the
Boom.
best things about this is that he takes like 3 or 4 shots. It does not happen in one.
Yes.
No.
If this was made
Yeah.
now, it would be he'd have some fucking stupid line where he says like, sharks check in and they don't
See
check
you at
out
the
or some shit.
party,
It's like,
Doctor.
If it was made now, he'd hand the gun to a woman, and
I
she
was
would take
just gonna say,
a
oh,
woman that wasn't on the boat up to
No,
this
she wasn't
point.
even there for the rest of the scene.
you
The
made,
explosion
I was
is
just
great.
gonna say if
You
it was
like-
made now, be a woman.
Yeah, this is like a meat pinata going off. This
They say it's a
explosion
man
looks good.
eater, not a woman eater. And then
Crazy
There we
enough.
go.
I am no man.
Oh, there it is. Ironically, the shark lives because we get Jaws 2 after this.
Indeed.
No, it doesn't. It's a different shark.
No.
Bruce
No, so
Jr.
that's my favorite thing about the Jaws movies is that they slowly reveal that there's like this vendetta the sharks have against the Brody family.
Yes.
Go after them.
They're so unlucky.
They're like, hey, one of our troops went down. Let's go get. We got to go get those fuckers.
Are we? Is Atom not going to mention the Godzilla fact at this point? There is a
What's
Godzilla
that?
reference here. Well, when we see
Oh,
the
yeah.
remnants of it falling to the floor, the noise that accompanies it sounds like a roar, and it's the same roar that Spielberg used in Duel when the truck goes over the edge at the end in slow motion. It's Godzilla's roar played backwards, I think,
Oh,
or
wow.
slowed down.
I didn't even know that.
Yeah, so you got a Godzilla reference in this movie and Duel.
I love that
So-
comment. I chose the shark.
Amelia, I choose the shark. Well, yeah, like we were recasting this. Like the woman, Brody would be a woman, and the shark would be like, what is it?
Harvey Weinstein.
Yeah, Harvey Weinstein. Yeah, like that would be the shark. I couldn't. My brain didn't work at that moment.
Diddy.
Yeah, be Diddy.
So obviously, after the shark is dead, Hooper realizes that, hey, I guess I'll just come to the surface. Everything's over, and they have a nice little laugh. But then they say, "Oh, Quinn," and then Brody just shakes his head.
No.
No, he just yeah, exactly. And
Yeah. So then they decide, okay, we're just gonna paddle our way to shore.
they just
He didn't
keep
really have
digging.
much of a choice.
That's
And it's, the seagulls are a fantastic detail.
Yes.
Yes,
Mm.
yeah, coming in for a feast. Absolutely.
Yep. So that's where the movie ends, folks.
But it
They
doesn't end the right way because it really needed a title card that said Finn on it at the end.
Oh,
absolutely.
Disappointing
wow.
that they didn't leave that in.
How dare you?
Right.
But yeah, it's funny because like when me and Joe were talking about this ahead of time, because he said he had so many slides and stuff, and I was like, yeah, but like a lot of them you're probably gonna fly through because there is a lot of scenes in this movie. Like I said, there are a lot of talking, a lot of not what we would perceive as not much going on unless you're paying attention.
Yeah. There's so much going on with the characters, and there's so much sort of flavor given to the island and island life, and it just really sets the scene and makes you feel like it just gives the audience somewhere to sort of get attached to, a place and the characters, I think. And you need all that setup because, like you say, I mean, the third act is effectively 3 guys on a boat that hate each other.
Right.
So you kind of need all that anchoring in those first 2 acts to really like these two, and to care enough that you're gonna forgive the slightly suspicious effects in some of the shots.
Yeah.
I like
No,
that you
I
said
mean-
anchoring.
Yeah, that was actually yeah.
But
But
no
I-
one jumped on.
I'm usually one of the first people to say like I'm okay with bad special effects. I don't necessarily, whether it be movies, video games, whatever. I'm okay with not the top of the line as long as the story that's being told is good. I'm okay with. I can look past so much. And that it's even saying that though, we're talking about a 50-year-old movie. You weren't looking past much back
Right.
then.
No, it was
Right.
fine.
I mean, there was a couple of scenes here and there where obviously you had to look past, you had to suspend your disbelief a little bit, but for the most part, you're talking about, at the time, what they were doing was so different.
It was revolutionary, without
Yeah.
a doubt. Yeah, I mean, you're right. I mean, we are probably it's through the lens of watching modern movies that you probably look at it and think, it doesn't look great. But you're right. I mean, at the time, it looked fantastic, with a little bit of an exception here and there. You're talking about 2 or 3 seconds of here and there where it's just a little bit suspicious. Definitely a rubbery shark, but I mean, it's in the movie's favor that the shark was not working all the time. Like before,
it really saved the movie. I feel like if he would have saw the shark too much from the beginning, it would have killed it.
It would. You're right. Yeah, I think that whole decision and the brilliance of having Spielberg there, who at the time, of course, we didn't realize was as much of a genius as he perhaps we do now.
Yeah, he was a couple of years away from really being the Spielberg that we know.
Yeah.
You know, what was it?
This
Raiders of the Lost Ark was
what,
81?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So, I mean, you know, you've got a couple of movies before he gets to that status. Here we have just a very talented guy that is making very clever decisions in a lot of scenes. Knows when to move the camera, knows when to keep it still and focus on the actors. And all that stuff really paid off. Just really paid off.
I do wonder what the movie would have been like if the shark worked 100%. Like, what we would have probably got a different movie.
It would have been schlockier for sure.
Yeah, you're right. I think we would have been schlockier because I think the original book is a little bit schlocky, a little bit of a holiday book. It's a bit disposable. If you'd had a different director, or like you say, if the shark had worked, you would have definitely had a very, very different film, I think.
I just want to highlight this comment because it's kind of a non sequitur, but Little Englander, you Yanks have some balls. Best country in the world. Remember who you copied off of? U.S. Us. I mean, sorry. I would say that as much as I love the United States, I love
even the language. Little Englander. I mean, they even took that.
I mean, I love even in this like current time of like some real insanity going on here. I love this country, and I would say that we are the embodiment of the like penis measuring contest historically. Like, I really do think that that's what it is. We're just a huge dick measuring contest that's succeeded as a country, and it's pretty awesome. And you should come check it out if you haven't been here. And just want to highlight a couple of them.
I have a little screen to share if it's
of course
okay to do.
Of course.
For Amelia Bodelia.
Holy shit! You have a lot of tabs open. Wow,
he does.
That's just one window.
He has hundreds.
Are any of those porn?
Obviously, most of them.
Only F-thing in the background.
Yeah, this pops up in Saturday the 14th. You just see the fin for a while in the bathtub, and then this thing pops up. So
so let me see if I could find that clip because I'm not sure if it let us play it or not, but I'll try it.
Also, Little Englander, if you come here, it gives you a really good. If you come to the States, it really gives you a good excuse to tut, which we do love doing. And you can tut and roll your eyes occasionally too. You can be really passive aggressive in the States. So
or if
that
you
really feeds into it, your inner
psyche. The New York, New Jersey area, it's not passive aggressive, it's just aggressive.
It's like,
aggressive.
Yeah, aggressive. Let me highlight a couple more comments before I show this. Brawler, who will be on next week. Not next week, next month. Next month we'll be doing The Patriot, you know, the truest historical accurate movie of all time.
That's like Braveheart.
It's very similar to Braveheart. Where was it? I had another one I wanted to highlight, but I can't find it all of a sudden. If I find it, I will. So let me see if I can get this up going. This is like an old, not that old, probably like, it's Lisa Ann. I know her from she does a lot of fucking like sports shit nowadays.
Show us?
It's quite literally, it's on YouTube, don't worry. It's just like a clip.
All I heard was Dark Hour saying, let me see if I can get it up.
Oh yeah. Hold on.
What is this? 2 sharks, 1 cup. You watch it. It's something horrible.
Don't you think that's shellfish?
That was like worse than one of mine.
Okay, let's see. Okay. So let's
so far so good.
Yeah, I'm okay with this. Is that compressed air? It is work. It is
might be.
Don't try and shoot that.
It's a beer bong.
Can you guys hear it?
No.
No.
I don't know if I need to.
Let me redo it. Hold on. Let me redo it.
The captions are fine.
No, hold on. Let me. I gotta get the sound because it's fucking.
Oh, that's right. It has the music in it.
Yeah, Spielberg's next movie after this was Close Encounters.
Wow.
Yeah.
So,
and then it was 1941, which
1941 deserves a mention.
But do you know the reason he made
it was Raiders? But I mean,
the reason he made Raiders
was man.
Oh no, totally. The reason he made Raiders was effectively because he needed to get something in production before the critics saw 1941.
1941.
Yeah. It was like, I just need to be working real quick.
Okay, so here we go. I think it was because I shared it wrong. So here.
I see you don't have a lifeguard here at your beach.
I'm not at the beach. This is a bathtub.
No body of water is safe without a lifeguard.
It's 2 feet deep, lady. What are you doing here?
You can relax. You're safe now. Your lifeguard is here.
Okay.
Get out of the water. There's a shark.
What? A shark?
Get out of the water.
Shark?
There's a shark in the water.
Wait a minute. There's no shark in the bathtub.
Aren't you glad you had a lifeguard here to save you?
I guess. Wait a minute. You should go. There's no need for you to be here.
I think I should stay, and I think we should have sex.
Okay.
I personally love it when they have a story.
So that's Lisa Ann. She's like historically famous for being Sarah Palin, but she also does a lot of fucking like the way I know her most is actually she does a lot of like fantasy football and fantasy basketball stuff. And her reasoning was she used to sleep with a lot of like high level athletes, so she got insider information and basically started using it to her advantage in fantasy football.
Sorry, is insider information some sort of euphemism?
Yes, quite literally. But I just thought that was kind of funny and sort of related. But yeah, so I guess that just kind of leaves us with our final thoughts, everybody. So let's go with Adam first.
He's first in the phone book, so why not?
What was that?
You're first in the phone book, so why not?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, what can you say? If you haven't seen this movie, you better correct yourself and watch it immediately. Watch it for 4th of July. And if you have seen it, you know it's one of the greatest films ever made. And Spielberg went the distance. It wasn't just a one-hit wonder. He obviously is an incredibly talented guy. The production of this was an absolute nightmare. The budget was blown. The actors were, destroyed mentally. Fantastic. 10 out of 10. We watched it last night, and I don't have a single complaint about this movie. Every scene is a banger.
It's pretty concise. I have a feeling it's going to be very similar for Babs. But go ahead.
Yeah, like I said, this is one of my favorite movies. I have a long fascination with not just this movie, but sharks in general. But I will say, I watched something, an interview with Carl Gottlieb, and he said to Spielberg, if we're successful at this, people will feel about the ocean the way people felt about the shower after Psycho. And he's absolutely right. Mm-hmm. This movie terrified people into never wanting to swim in the ocean or be more than ankle deep in any body of water.
Psycho made me scared of staircases.
Yeah, I will say that was my bigger thing too for that movie. But there's something just so absolutely wonderful. And I think Smilex was very right when when he hit upon the fact that, a lot of these people were locals. Outside of the main cast, they were all locals. And it adds such a delightful flavor to this film. And there's nothing bad I can say about it. The effects are what they were, and we're the better off for it. Having the shark not be as present as originally wanted works in its favor. It's just one of the most perfect movies. No notes, 10 stars. Would recommend.
Would do again.
Yes. And I will.
Babs says it brilliantly, but I think it is a bit of a time capsule, this film, and yes, absolutely, because of the fact that most of the cast you don't know, you just see them as the characters that they are, so it feels much more real. it's Spielberg when he's still hungry. So there's a lot of clever shots in this movie, and because of obviously all the production problems, it benefited greatly. The acting is just perfect in every scene. I think I just find this film just rewatchable. I could like Barbara, she can watch it every year. I can probably do the same. At this point, I think I can pretty much just quote the entire thing. But on doing some research for this, I read a couple of making of books, but the best one by quite a large mile is Jaws: Memories from Martha's Vineyard by Matt Taylor. So if anybody's interested in knowing more about the film and is interested in a lot of photography, because there's some fantastic pictures in this, that's the one to go for. I think it's just about to get to come out again with an updated version, so it might be a good time to pick this the first editions up cheaper. But
I don't read, so
that's, well, like I say, lots of pictures. It's a really good book if you're into the subject.
Joe,
I don't think I can say anything that hasn't already been said already. That's sadly, it's 10 out of 10. I think Adam covered it perfectly.
I said I like to save myself for last, so I don't have to say anything.
Yes, I mean, like, what do you possibly say about this movie? It did everything right. I would actually like to see, what was that movie that years ago, like the James Franco, where they were doing the behind the scenes of The Room?
Oh yeah.
Like, give me the
Disaster Artist.
Yeah.
Oh well, there is that for Jaws.
Really?
It's called The Shark Is Still Working, and there is I think it was off Broadway. But,
that's right.
Yeah.
Quint's son plays Quint.
Yes, that's right. Yeah,
exactly like him.
It really does. Yeah,
It's
really
does.
I'm checking. Is it on YouTube? Hopefully, 'cause that sounds pretty cool.
It was an off-Broadway play.
Yeah, but
it did come to the UK, but it only went to London, and for a very limited amount of time. So
there are videos about it on YouTube.
Oh well, I would definitely like to see how everything would have went if the shark worked out perfectly. But as usual, the fates decided nothing was gonna work, and everything worked out perfectly for it.
There's always something about off-Broadway plays, by the way. It's just they're just a little. Broadway obviously is like the creme de la creme usually of plays, and it's like off-Broadway is just like, yeah, we weren't quite good enough.
Off-Broadway is when we get the race changed Romeo and Juliet. So.
No, off-Broadway is usually like, honestly, off-Broadway shows are usually like things that were a little bit more experimental, and the general audiences just didn't understand. So that's probably what it like, or like it didn't have widespread appeal. So,
well, I think this movie is a perfect example of dedicated filmmaking and a great counterpoint to some of Lucas's later work, where you see what happens when a creative artist has no restrictions and has all the money in the world. This movie is,
he's like, get me boobs right in the first 2 minutes of the movie. I want titties.
No, you're absolutely right. Limitation is a great thing that drives you in art. I mean, if somebody gives me a small piece of paper and one pencil, then I'll draw something. But if you give me a canvas and all the colors in the rainbow, I just stare at the canvas for about 3 hours working out what it is I want to do. So it's exactly. I mean, those restrictions are really, really useful to artists. It allows you to problem solve and find different ways of getting around a really nasty issue. I mean, the fact that the reason that some of the locals are in this film is simply because they wanted to use their property for filming rights, and they didn't want them to complain. So they thought, well, if we get that guy on side, then we can use his building, or we can put something, this massive structure in front of his building, or whatever it was. But so all that kind of stuff just came about organically by people who were just problem solving every single day.
Yeah. As for me, I guess my final thoughts are one thing I think this should have remained solo. I don't think I've watched all of the sequels. I know I've seen Jaws: The Revenge, but I don't know which ones I've watched, and it really should have
been the 3D. That was as far as I went. Louis Gossett killed it in that movie, and nothing else you need to watch after that movie.
But everyone returned for Jaws 2 for some odd reason.
Yeah, except for the shark. He was.
I don't hate Jaws 2. I don't hate Jaws 2.
It just it that was the thing back then. It's like if something was an unexpected hit, I mean, they still do it. It's like, oh, this movie should have been a standalone, but let's just do it again. As for it itself, I mean, what can you say? It did so much for not only the horror genre, but just filming in general. It launched Spielberg's career in a direction. I mean, we got some of the greatest films ever out of him after this. I mean, a lot of other directors, this would have been their magnum opus, and then everything would have been downhill. The M. Night Shyamalans of the world.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
And he, if anything, I mean, he just continued to one up himself. He did a smart thing by always changing genres. He did a very smart thing by always, trying to stay right on the cusp of what was now, like in terms of technology, so he always did that very well.
Another thing he's always I'm sorry, quick.
Oh,
I was just going to say, there's one thing that I've always found interesting about Spielberg is that he's always been on the cusp of being rated much. His films to get a much more adult rating than they should have done. Jaws being an example of one of them that gets, like I say, back in the UK, it's getting a PG rating. Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom, where you're getting a man getting his heart pulled out, that was also getting a PG rating in the cinema.
It's almost like he knew somebody and he was able to pull some strings.
Exactly. It's just like, how is he getting away with like dinosaurs ripping a man to pieces in a movie for kids?
But yeah, I mean, there's just like. It's funny because it's like you talk about it, and this is only one of his top 5 films. Like, I don't even know which one I would rank as his number 1 movie. And all of them, I mean, arguably this should have won more awards than it did. I thought it did, actually, in my mind. Maybe I like Mandela affected that. But
yeah, I think it was nominated for lots, but didn't get very much.
It's one of those movies that you can watch whenever, and it doesn't really matter where you pick up in the movie.
No.
Yeah, it's like Casablanca. If you're just scrolling through channels and you come in partway into the movie, you will end up watching it to the end.
Yeah.
This is one of those movies.
But yeah, that pretty much sums it up. Everyone else said everything exactly what I would have said, so I don't want to drag it down. Plus, I know everybody here is definitely found in different places, so it's about time to plug their shit. My favorite little segment, and everybody loves that graphic. But unmute yourself, Babs. I don't know why you. Yeah, but
sorry.
By the poop.
Easiest.
No, it automatically muted me. Sorry.
Unmutes after it's over. That's weird. But this should be the easiest plug your shit of all time. All three of you can be. Whichever one of you wants to take the reins on it, go ahead.
We'll all be in the same place at the same time. Well, Babs and I are doing a marathon streaming month right now. She's off of work because of summer vacation. So we are exhausted already from all of the extra streaming that we've done, and we're only halfway through the month. Our regular show is B-Sides every Friday with Babs and the inevitable Smilex, 6 p.m. Pacific time. We riff on old movies and we have a great time. And I go back and I do recaps and I listen to the shows, and I cannot believe how funny we are. So
we are very funny.
Check it out.
I'm really funny. There's not so much, but I'm okay.
I appeared once, and I don't think I talked about the movie a single time.
No, we talked.
About the martial arts.
We just talked. Tuesday, I'm going to be on Trev Retro's show. I can't even remember what movie I'm there for. I'll be on The Stars. That'll be 1 p.m. Pacific time. Trev Retro has a great channel if you haven't seen it yet. And it's a lot of the same folks from Mr. Brown Alliance are there. And Wednesday, we're doing Yellowbeard on Totaled Recall. Jethro Bot, another one of our main panelists' channel. They dig up old movies that you probably saw when you were a kid and you can't remember if they're good enough to watch again. It's an interesting theme. And then every Saturday and Tuesday this month, we're doing Rumble streams from Rumble Studio to clock in 30 hours so that we can get fully monetized on Rumble. And like I said, it's been exhausting. So
Adam Gray, of course, still historically fighting with YouTube constantly. So,
I can't even go into it. It's so
I was
revolting.
so mad at this last
You
one.
should just hand the channel over to Enzo. He could do that in a day, 30 hours.
I know. Well, I'm not going to say I copied his appeal video, but I copied his appeal video pretty much verbatim.
well, didn't his also get like hit with a like you need to prove that you're a real fucking channel or some shit?
Well, he got approved, and then a month later they
unapproved it,
for reused content, just like they did us. And
so from what I'm seeing, from what I'm noticing, just to say that it's a lot harder to get monetized as a purely live stream show. Like a purely live stream channel. It just seems like they don't consider it, I don't know. It's unfair. It definitely is unfair.
Things that YouTube are changing. They're not pulling in the ad revenue from their advertisers that they used to. So they're making things a lot stricter. The more I learn, the more I realize that this whole reuse content idea was just a way to filter out smaller creators.
Mm-hmm.
I get recommended movies to me every day that are newer uploads from monetized channels for the movies that we have been watching for years.
Yeah. I mean, I lucked out. I have a few videos that took off and got like 50,000 views, which really helped me early on.
Yeah.
They've definitely been going through a lot of changes. And I'm not sure if they're going to ever recover from it fully. I mean, they're going to make their own money, but I'm not sure if the smaller creators that they're going to have. You guys might actually be ahead of the curve in terms of getting out to other services. I might piggyback on what you guys are doing because
our statistics are insane. We have like 200,000 watch hours, but YouTube won't tell us why they won't monetize us. So I would encourage everyone listening and watching right now to start a Rumble account. Reserve your username.
I already did that a while ago. I just haven't really started using it yet. Mostly because this service only lets you go to 3 things at a time. That's really it's the restrictions of the technology. But
they have a lot of glitches. Their software needs work for sure, but they are working on it. And if you're a creator, they will monetize you for donations on day one.
Mm-hmm.
Nice. Maybe we'll replace one of them and start doing that.
Don't put all your eggs in one platform, guys.
I mean, this is a hobby mostly for me, so
sure.
But speaking of this particular show, Joe, what did you have coming up?
Well, I did a video today of Ironheart. Now she's a sorcerer. That's actually going to happen, where she's gonna fight the literal devil with her homemade suit.
Oh yes, Mephisto is going to be in it finally.
Exactly. After long
played by Sacha Baron Cohen of all people.
If they don't do that, we're riot. And they've been fan casting that dude for years. But yeah, I got a lot of
Okay, let me put it this way. Objectively, let me say this: the dude, he's known primarily for his comedic acting, but he is actually a very good actor.
Oh, absolutely.
And if he was put in a good property and told, "Hey, be the devil," I'm sure he could do a good job.
He would, but this is certainly the most wasted role of all human history of an Ironheart show.
He very much immerses himself in the roles. And
Mephisto should have been on WandaVision, but yeah, I think Cohen could disappear into a role really well.
He's very good at it.
God.
But sadly, it's been written by modern day Disney writers.
Unfortunately, when you immerse yourself in a role and it's written badly, unfortunately you can't do anything with it.
Still stuck with the bad writing, regardless of how good you are. You might be able to deliver the lines beautifully, but it doesn't really make any difference.
I mean, like anybody who can like, I know it's been done to death with Borat with him, but like you cannot separate the character from the actor, and that's a great example. I think that he's very underrated in terms of his ability to.
I think he could do it. Yeah, I think he could do a serious role. He was up for the role of Freddie Mercury originally in the Queen Bohemian Rhapsody.
Yeah,
and I think they even started shooting it with him, and then there was some massive disagreements, creative differences, the usual thing, and then they ended up going with Malek. But I don't think he did a great job. I think Sacha Baron Cohen would have been perfect for that role.
Might have been too old for that.
I sort of cut off Joe. I'm sorry about that. I got a little excited
Joe.
about the Mephisto thing.
It's perfectly fine. A lot of my stuff is just headline news. We got like the WB is trying to do Sinners 2, but the director doesn't want to come back. So like, hey, we'll just make a sequel without him. So we're gonna see. how that goes. A lot of doomsday stuff too. But yeah, a lot of my channel is just headline news right now, stuff going on.
I took a slight break from my my Karate Kid Legends video. Actually, it died like out of the gate. It was weird. It got nothing, and I was like, okay, probably people don't give a shit about this movie. It's fine. I'm cool with it. I kind of knew that going into it. And then out of nowhere, it just started gaining traction, and it's been doing really well. So if you haven't watched that one yet, go check it out. It's got some of my best gags I've done. And yeah, it's ended up being like my second or third best video this year. And obviously, I had the ones from last year. I had all my my Rings of Power ones did really well, but this for the calendar year of 2025, this is probably my second or third best one. And I took a slight break because I know it's going to be a grind, like end of June through July. You got, obviously, Ironheart was mentioned. I have Fantastic Four. I have Superman, maybe Jurassic Park if I could find the time, but there's just so much going on at that time. That might be the one that gets skipped, or Jurassic World, sorry. But yeah, I'll be pumping out a lot of stuff for the end of June through July, and then probably take another break. I'm trying to do that, like take a break after long, like big periods of time.
When do we come back on here next week?
We are next week, actually. Yes, we. This one was originally supposed to be. This was supposed to be last week. I had to bump it back because I had some commitments in IRL to that I had to take care of. Next week we have Planet Hulk. I'm actually bringing on. I forget which. I think it's Jacob WD40. He was actually out in the chat. He was the one who suggested it. So I asked him if he wanted to come on. So I'm bringing him on. Probably the best on-screen depiction of the Hulk ever, and it's animated. So
yeah, cool.
But yeah, other than that, I guess that just leaves it to say thank you to my guests. Thank you to unfortunately, we lost Melvin early. I'll try to get him in a different one soon. Had I known that was going to happen, I may have just completely united the B-Sides crew and brought on who am I forgetting? Who else is on here?
Jethro Bot.
No.
I tried.
No, who am I forgetting? My brain is not working. These streams.
I don't know who you're talking about.
Professor R2.
Yeah.
No, R2. Professor R2 is going to be on soon. Who am I forgetting? Fucking. He was in this. My brain is not.
Well,
working.
hopefully he's not listening to this now. Going,
he's listening right now. My brain is fried. I'm scrolling back.
You're thinking
you're in the chat. Send a super chat with your name.
The other guy, that guy.
That guy, the bald guy with
that planet thing. Yeah,
Gold LeMay. Yes. No, we're
Never
still,
a good one. I'm a fucking retard.
we're still friendly with Jay. He's moved on to other things, but he was definitely one of the founding voices behind B-Side. So
my brain, like seriously, at the end of these streams, I'm always fried. That's not working correct because it's
exhausting.
It's because I'm working on like 3 different things at once.
Yeah,
so
I know all about it. Babs and I have been streaming at least 4 days a week now this month, and we're just exhausted.
What's his name would have been on with you guys? No, I don't. I talk to Jay all the time. I don't know how the fuck that happened. But once again, everybody who sent the super chats, the chat, I love you all. This wasn't one of our biggest ones this week, but you guys were very active nonetheless. And hopefully see you again in the near future. And,
well, thank you so much for having us back.
Absolutely.
We really
thank you
appreciate it.
Discussion. I love this film. I could talk about it for another 14 hours, but I'm not going to.
And I got to make another appearance on B-Sides. I feel like I owe you guys one after last time when I hijacked the stream on bullshit.
That was great. It was great.
The next thing is we can watch the same movie again.
Let's just do it. I don't even know what that movie was about. All right, but let's put an end to this one, I guess. So, everyone, have a good day. See you next week.
Take care, everybody. Have a good week.
Did it actually stop? It didn't stop. These motherfuckers, they did it to me again.
Despite making up.
Oh, hey, I know that it hasn't ended. Let's try that again.